There it goes. A battle of attrition here. Call it what you want. Hey, everybody, what's up? Thanks for hanging out with us for this big one. Gold Cup final, U.S. versus Mexico. It's the final we all wanted, and we are getting it. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola, and kickoff is about 12 minutes or so. I should say it never really kicks off right at the top of the hour, and we're excited. So excited. We want to roll right into the starting 11. Let's just get right into the starting 11 right now because, to the surprise of absolutely no one that's been paying attention to the U.S. men's national team throughout this Gold Cup run, Mauricio Pochettino has made 0 changes to his starting 11. Charlie Davies, how are you feeling about that? And you know what? Congratulations to you for having AC for this watch along. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you very much, Jimmy. This is what got him to the final. So I'm A-okay with it. Are you kidding me? I think we talk about belief and confidence and continuity, and that's exactly what Mauricio Pochettino went with. So, you know, the players that are going to have to be big tonight, we know that Malik Tillman's the go-to guy, but can Diego Luna have a similar performance to what we saw from him against Guatemala, that first 30 minutes where he was on fire? Can Ajiman be a difference maker? That's what we're going to be watching tonight. And then Riemann Richards. Jimenez is a handful. How do they work together? So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is a real barometer test for this U.S. men's national team and for Pochettino with some of his substitutions and tactical adjustments throughout the game.
Or lack thereof, huh, Charlie? Okay,
well, so you said that, not me.
I'm just saying. It just takes him a while to maybe make some subs. Maybe he'll do them earlier. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Big Tones, your thoughts on this starting 11. And I do want to make mention that Mexico have not been scored on first throughout this tournament. And I feel like we have to score first just to make them suffer a little bit. You got to make them start thinking, hey, maybe today's not our day. And if they can get a lead or whatever. However, fun fact for everybody, I dug this one up. Okay. In the last 9 games for the U.S. that they have been up or even at halftime, they've won all of those games. So that needs to continue to happen. So scoring that first goal is the utmost importance, especially if they can do it in the first half. Okay, Tones, your thoughts on this lineup?
Yeah, my thoughts is come World Cup time, it's going to be real easy to predict the lineups from game to game because we're getting an idea of what Pochettino wants to do. He doesn't make changes. I mean, we were talking about changes a couple days ago, and I think we all left the thing going, okay, we don't think he's going to change. That's it. And there were really, for me, only 2 true possibilities. Arston was one, and then potentially Ajimang if he wanted to give Damian Downs a look. But keep in mind, right, we could have a longer game tonight than we've had just with extra time. So, yeah, I guess it's no surprise whatsoever. As Chuck said, these are the guys that he rolled out that got him to this point. He's going to try and let them finish it out here.
All right. So speaking of Damian Downs, just want to give him a shout out. It is his birthday today, turning 21. I remember when I was 21, kind of so long ago because I'm old. I played in the 1950 World Cup. All right, let's talk about Mexico and their starting 11. Javier Aguirre makes 2 changes in the outside back positions. You have Gallardo comes back into the team and Sanchez comes back into the team on the right side for Araujo. And outside of that, everything else looks the same. Now, in the game that they struggled, even in the 2 friendlies before this Gold Cup, Chuck, they beat Turkey 1-0 because they played the same 2 opponents we did. Right. In the second game, they beat Turkey 1-0. But in the first game, they lost to Switzerland 4-2. They were down 1-0 at half. And then that first goal, Briel and Bolo did a really, really, really good job of kind of hanging on the back shoulder of the center backs. They got caught. Mexico got caught being a little bit too high. They had possession. They lost that possession. And then immediately they hit Mexico in transition and Briel and Bolo scored. I think that's very similar to how Patrick Ajiman could potentially hurt Mexico tonight. But I wonder, obviously, they're going to learn from that experience, and they've obviously tightened things up. They've got 4 straight clean sheets, this Mexico team. They've been excellent on the defensive side of the ball.
They have. And I think we all know one of Mexico's flaws is the lack of pace along that back line, in particular the center backs. They get high, they dive in, they're aggressive. Ball in behind can absolutely cook this team. And then you see Edson Alvarez, I think, has starting to play much better with the Mexican side. But again, he lacks the quickness and the pace that a Tyler Adams does playing in that lone 6 role. I think Raul Jimenez is going to be the real test. I mean, it's funny. If you have Ante Robinson and Tim Ream, they were teammates with him. They see him every day in training. You know what you're getting from him. It's another thing when you're playing heads up in a full international match. And I think Max Arfson is going to be really tested defensively. That's going to be interesting to see how he balances getting forward, attacking versus sitting back, which then he's uncomfortable. He's not a left back. So they're trying to play him in that position as a makeshift because he plays in a left wing back spot in Columbus, and that left wing up and down on 3-4-3. You have the freedom to attack teams. You have possession. You're typically attacking. Now, when you're forced to defend at the highest level, it's a whole new ball game, and he's very uncomfortable, and that's what we've seen. So, does that mean there's more fouls, more set pieces given away? Those are the type of things I'm looking at throughout this match, because there are some real good matchups if you're looking at 11 versus 11 here.
Yeah, Big Tones, before I get your thoughts, another fun fact / stat for everybody that's watching and or listening. Mexico scored 8 goals so far in this tournament. 7 of them have come after halftime. So they clearly get a little feel for the game. They make maybe some slight adjustments at halftime, and then they come at you. And even in the game that they tied, Costa Rica 0-0, they pumped Costa Rica. It was just a Keylor Navas, standing on his head type performance in the Costa Rican goal that allowed that to be even 0-0. Probably should have been 1-2, 3-0, frankly, for Mexico. What do you think how do you think the first half is going to play out, kind of knowing how Mexico's been trending throughout this tournament and where we are going into this one as well?
Well, the first thing I want to figure out is what the U.S. does from a pressing standpoint, right? Remember, we talked about Edson Alvarez as the 6. When they build out of the back, he drops between those 2 center backs, which allows the 2 wing backs to get higher, which is a little bit surprised. I don't see Julian Araujo. I don't even see him on the bench. So he's not suspended, so I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Maybe he's got an injury.
Yeah, maybe. Sanchez doesn't get forward nearly as much as Julian will try to get forward. Gallardo on the other side will. So how does the U.S. deal with that sort of matchup? How do they press? So that'll be the first thing that I look at. With regards to they're a little slower paced with the ball. They're not the typical Mexican side where it's pressure all the time. I shouldn't say so slower paced. I want to take that back. They're a little bit more patient.
No, don't take it back, Tony.
Yeah, they're
Chuck
a little
wants
bit
more
patient.
slander of Mexico. More slander.
No. But I just verbalized it wrong. But they will pick and choose their times to go. Obviously, they have Raul Jimenez up top. He can run behind you. He's better if he gets you on his body when he's running behind you, not just a sprinter, obviously. But they'll play into him as a target a little bit more. He'll play with his back to goal a little bit more. So they don't have they don't have that always in 5th gear all the time like you used to think that's Mexican side. But they do value the ball. I would imagine. And I don't know how you guys feel. I would imagine Mexico, is the team in possession more often than not with the ball tonight.
All right. That's not a big surprise. That's usually how it is, all things considered. A couple of milestones for the U.S. Tim Ream is going to make his 75th appearance for the U.S. men's national team, the 34th player in the history of the program for that to happen. Tyler Adams is going to get his 50th appearance, making him the 65th player to reach that half-century mark for the U.S. men's national team. And then I believe Malik Tillman is getting his 25th cap, which I think is pretty cool. A couple of good milestones there for our players. When you look at who needs to step up tonight, there's some pretty obvious choices, right? We need to get Malik Tillman and Diego Luna on the ball. Chuck, I'm going to come to you, but who do you think really is going to be the main, let's say outside of the Captain Obvious answers, who do you think could also be a really big, important catalyst for us?
Well, it's funny you say that because you could look at each single player on this in this 11 and say, okay, Patrick Gajiman, a lot has been made of his performances throughout this tournament. Lack of goal scoring, lack of efficiency, putting shots on target, the timing of his runs. I think he's started to build himself up in terms of his movement and his hold-up play, his presence. But then you got to add all the other elements to be a top striker for this U.S. men's national team, to be in the conversation of a World Cup participant, someone who can make an impact. So for me, I know it's cliche. I'm a striker. I was a striker. No, I think Patrick Agyemang needs a big game tonight. Him leading the line, stretching, getting them to play the guessing game. I think he can hold up both on Vasquez and Montez. He's got to be one of those players that can play through, not losing the ball, good passes. So I'm going to go with Patrick Agyemang because I think that's the one player that we still want to see more from. And we think he's capable of it. And we know that Mauricio Pochettino thinks he's capable of it. But now you're in a final against Mexico. Make it count.
Yeah, and Tones, Patrick Agyemang, your guy as well?
Yeah, Agyemang, but I'll just add that for me, the most important part tonight for me, or one of the most important parts, he's got to hold the ball up. We're going to need him to make it stick, and we know that's not a strength of his game. He's got to find it. The other one I'll just throw in there really quick, Jimmy, I know you got to go to break. Max Arston. I think he has to be good defensively, and we know that's not his strong suit. He's in there to go and attack, but he's going to have to be really solid defensively.
Yeah, maybe that's why they started Sanchez instead of Araujo, because Sanchez is going to stay home a little bit, knowing that they're going to try to, at least we get forward a little bit more on the left side than we do on the right, but he's going to have a tough task with Alvarado tonight. All right, we're going to take a break so we can bring the Golasso Network audience into it and, of course, get ready for kickoff on the other side of it. So don't go anywhere. Keep it right here on the Golasso America YouTube channel. Welcome in, everyone, to the Golasso Network for your favorite average to good podcast. Call it what you want. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola, and we're excited to bring you a good to great Gold Cup final between the U.S. and Mexico. It's the final we all wanted, the biggest rivalry around, especially here in Concacaf in North America. So we're very excited for this one to kick off. And let's just get right into it, right? Let's take a look at the starting 11 for Mauricio Pochettino. And to the surprise of absolutely no one, if you've been paying attention, he rolled out the same exact starting 11 that he's had throughout the knockout rounds against Costa Rica and Guatemala. No changes to this lineup. At this point, Chuck, right? You got to ride or die with the guys that have got you here.
You do. I think Mauricio Pochettino said, this is the group that I feel is going to give us the best opportunity to win. And that's who I believe in. I've played them throughout each match, each challenge. To him, they've done what they needed to do, but now this is the real challenge. And how quick does he go to plan B if some of these players don't have the performances that are needed to match a confident Mexican side?
Yeah, good question, right? We've known, or at least have seen, some evidence of some substitutions maybe not happening as quickly as we would like in some of the previous games. Big Tones, your thoughts on this? Keep in mind, we have 7 starters that are 25 or younger. Chris Richards is 25, Patrick Agyemang, Max Arston, Sebastian Berhalter, 24. Malik Tillman's 23. I feel like he just plays older than he is. Diego Luna's 21, and Alex Freeman is 20 years old.
Yeah, I just think we're finding out who Pochettino is, right? And he mentioned this is last chance in a competitive game, right? I think there will be more difficult games down the road, but he's going to give the guys an opportunity to win a final for him. And there's 2 sides to it. We mentioned it before the last game. It's either he's just going to roll them out because they got him here, or these are truly the guys that every single day in training have gotten it done. I tend to think it's the first one, but we're getting an idea. He's not a huge rotation guy. And we were joking about, the World Cup's going to be easy to pick from game to game, right? Because we're going to know who the next lineup is. But, yeah, look, I'm okay with it, and I hope they get it done.
All right, let's get into Mexico's starting 11. Javier Aguirre, who's in his 3rd stint in charge of the Mexican national team, makes 2 changes to his starting 11 from the previous game against Honduras, which they won 1-0. Gallardo comes in on the left back spot in for Chavez, and Sanchez comes in for Julian Araujo, who actually did not dress for this game. We don't necessarily know all the reasons, but he's not in the team after starting the semifinal. Maybe we'll get a little insight on that after the game is over.
Tony,
but go ahead.
And Jimmy, I want to know across this back line, who needs to have the best game?
You talking Mexico or
no, the US?
Well, the Mexican lineup's up right now. I just want to talk about.
I know.
Ream and Richards, because they got to deal with Jimenez.
You had to pick one player.
I'd say Arfston. Arfston.
You'd say Arfston.
Yeah, we've been a leaky Steve over there, right? Even in the friendlies.
This is the only counter argument to that is sometimes you need your best players. Like if we're talking about the strengths of this group, sometimes maybe Tyler Adams needs to be the best player in this team tonight. Maybe it's Malik Tillman needs be the best player in this team, or it's a Richards or Ream. If Ream is the player who's getting on the ball as a center back, he's got to make sure he's making the right decisions on where that ball's going. Is it between the lines? Is it over the top to Ajiman? Is it more direct versus, all right, let me find an outlet, so
Richards.
That's why I say that. Oh, Richards
for me.
Playing cover.
Richards, because he's the one guy in that back line that I can see truly starting in the World Cup. And this is a World Cup level opponent that they're playing tonight. So given all those things, Richards needs to be the Chris Richards that we think he can be tonight. He's been great through the tournament, but this clearly is the stiffest of the competition.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be our hardest game. But like we've always said, no matter who we're playing against, the more players we have playing a 7 or 8 out of 10 type of performance, Chuck, then if we can tilt, 7 or 8 of those guys having that type of performance, we put ourselves in a good position to win the game.
Yeah,
I can see this coming down to a set piece. So Chris Richards is another name you throw into the mix because he scored against Saudi Arabia, scored the winner. He also gets on the end of a lot. We've seen, I don't know how many corners throughout this competition where you're like, Richards has got his head on it once again. And it's not always necessarily on goal. Sometimes it's trying to head it back across or whatever. So I could see him being a threat because historically we've always been pretty good against Mexico in set pieces. And I'm not just saying that because I scored a header against Mexico. I would never do that, everybody. I'm just saying that historically. Listen, even the last Gold Cup final we played against Mexico, Miles Robinson scored in injury time or extra time in the 117th minute to help us win that one 1-0. It's the last time we played Mexico in a Gold Cup final. So, hopefully that history repeats itself in some ways. I did want to give a shout out. We did it prior to jumping on the Glosser Network to Tim Ream for getting his 75th cap. That's a big deal. Tyler Adams, 50th cap for the national team. And then his 25th cap. That is a tremendous accomplishment, especially for Tim Ream at 75. Tyler will get there at some point. Only 34 players in the history of the program have done that. And he's captaining the U.S. for the 21st time. What an absolute beast Tim Ream is. Here's a fun fact, though. This is Tim Ream's 4th Gold Cup, and he's never won it. That blew my mind. So this is a big opportunity for him. He said in the press conference before the game that he'd like to kind of end his Gold Cup career with a trophy, something that's eluded him up until this point. But wow, I couldn't believe he was in 4 Gold Cup rosters, and then 2 that he hadn't won one. That seems pretty wild, all things considered. Now let's get into the chat predictions. What are you guys saying for this one? Because it's about to kick off. What are you feeling it? I said 1-1. And that we're going to win in either penalties or extra time.
Ooh.
The universe.
Yeah.
Tones. What? I don't remember what Tones you said.
Yeah,
Chuck,
I said extra time in this one. I'm going to go with my heart 2-1 US.
I'm going to go US. I'm going to go US and Pens 2-2 regular time.
Ooh, 2-2. I like that one as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, give us your shouts. Got Edwin saying 1-0 to the US. Tyler got 2-2 winning in Pens.
Okay, Tyler, let's go.
This is Tim Ream's 3rd Gold Cup final. He lost the previous 2. Colin said 3-0 Mexico. Colin, we're going to have to rethink our friendship.
Colin, 3-0 Mexico? Come on, man.
3-0 Mexico. Have some respect. You think this is going to be a cakewalk for Mexico? You're absolutely wrong. Going with the heart, not the head.
What about USA Gilberto Mora? What do you think?
Natalia says US 2-1. Natalia, you're welcome here anytime. We appreciate you. Love it.
Jimmy, what do you think about Gilberto Mora?
So Gilberto Mora, for people that don't know, 16 years old and an absolute boss. You're going to have to get around him. He's so good. If you let him pick up his head and make passes, he's going to hurt you. You just got to get around him and surround him. Honduras tried to do that in the semifinals. They kicked him a few times. They tried to get into the dark arts.
Yeah.
The kid came out in the second half and had a pretty sick assist to Raul Jimenez. So you can't it doesn't seem like you can dent him mentally. I think he's a terrific player. And we've been talking about when is Mexico going to develop like that next kind of world-class player.
That next
this might be the kid.
Dos Santos or Carlos Vela or Chicharito.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I'm a
here you
fan.
go.
I'm a fan, but not tonight. I'm not a fan, but I do think he's a very good player. So I'll have to keep an eye on him. What do you think about him, Chuck?
Yeah, I think he's a special talent. And typically with young players,
Kickoff time. Let's go.
Internationally, you want to get after him.
Yeah. Tones, when you played with any young players, what's the best way? What would you tell the guys if there was like a superstar young player on the other team?
On the other team. Clearly you got to treat them like anybody else, right? But remember, young players are they're naive in a lot of ways, right? They just take risks all the time. They haven't learned what risks they can and can't take, and they're generally given the instruction: just go out and play. We brought you here for a reason. Just go out and play, and don't change the way you play. Take advantage. Be physical with them, right? That's the one thing you have to be.
Right. Yeah, you honestly can't let them pick up their heads. So I'm kind of curious what we do tactically to slow him down a little bit. Setting the tone here, Raul Jimenez in the dark arts running over Sebastian Berhalter to start this game. But yeah, good luck. Reedy, what's up, man? Ooh. 1 minute in, the atmosphere looks absolutely fantastic in Houston where this game is being played, thankfully indoors so that nobody can use the heat as an excuse. But yeah, it is going to be fantastic. Anytime you play against Mexico, the crowd's always popping off. And it's a lot of fun to play in because you can't really hear anything. And this is probably the best exercise we're going to have ahead of the World Cup. Not only from like an official competition standpoint, but just in terms of a crowd. It's hard to replicate that type of vibe and pulse and feel of a game in a friendly, no matter who we're playing and where we're playing it. But this has got something.
Spot on, Jimmy.
Thanks, Chuck. Every once in a while, blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah, Edwin Arieta. Yes, my AC is back on. I'm in a different place, so the AC's on. I'm not sweating. I can wear this heavy jersey. I'm feeling good.
All right. We got Joe, what's up? Let's go, boys. Scoreline crew is watching. We appreciate you. Ooh.
Okay, Max Arfson was tucked in tight there. Wasn't ball watching, so that's a good intervention. 2 minutes and 19 seconds into the match.
Yeah, good shout. See if we can connect some passes, though. It's been a little choppy.
Patrick.
Holding the ball up for you, Big Tones.
Looks like you got chopped down there.
We'll take a little uh-oh. They give him an early kick. Who got him? Vasquez got him. Let's see it. Just going to slice him from behind. That is a stereotypical tackle in this rivalry for sure.
He got a good chunk on that one.
Good chunk. And sometimes, you got to know the referee, but more often than not, they're not want to give in a yellow card, or the ref doesn't want to give a yellow card early on, so you can get a real good freebie to start the game.
Yeah, but that tackle's going to live in the mind of the ref, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, maybe in Ajimans too. We'll have to wait and see.
No, but I think he's going to bounce back, and that's a great early foul to win. And he kept the ball. He got fouled, but he also kept the ball.
So we scored against Saudi Arabia, maybe 5 to 10 yards deeper, but that's a good ball.
Oh!
Get it! That's it! Cross the line!
To me. Come on!
The line!
It had to!
Chris Richards!
Chris Richards!
Oh!
Let's go! Let's go!
Hey! Let's go!
Let's
absolutely
go!
love to see it. You got to score first. Listen, I went on HQ this morning. Can I pat myself on the back? I said the U.S. to score first plus 115, and I put a flyer on Chris Richards to score anytime plus 2,200. Let's go, baby.
What a ball played in. What a ball. Is that Berhalter, right?
That is a goal. That is a goal.
What a ball.
What a ball. To see it.
What a ball. But
it's the same exact setup.
Wow. What a header, too.
Hey, the same ball and the same type of run that they did against Saudi Arabia, which led to a goal as well. Unbelievable scenes.
And they did it against Costa Rica. If you remember, he had the same one against Costa Rica.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, baby.
Wow. Love it.
So the first
Love
time
it when that happens early.
first time that Mexico has
Golazo.
been down in this tournament. Mexico has not been down yet in this tournament. So we'll see how they respond.
What a start. Hey, Jimmy, Tony, what a start.
What a start.
No one was expecting that type of start.
Yo, I got to text my guys at HQ. I
Hey,
nailed that.
text your guys at HQ. Also, think about this though. Do you think Patrick Ajiman is going to get a single mention in winning that foul and the hold up play that made that play possible? Not at all.
You just mentioned it.
But that's the dirty work, right? But that's the dirty work. Fantastic. What a start. That's the impact for the people who are going, oh, no, Ajiman. That's the type of impact you can make if you're not on the score sheet.
Come on, US. Let's go.
Come on.
You love to see it.
You know what's really, really, really difficult, guys? I got my family here watching the game. They're watching the TV. And they have to watch in silence. And not only that, they got the 20-second delay. So they see me going crazy. And you can imagine 9-year-old boys like, what's going on? What happened?
Love it.
Oh, this is dedication.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how Mexico responds. Again, I want to reiterate, they have not been down yet in this tournament. And that's I feel like it'll rattle the cage a little bit. And that gives us a ton of confidence at the same time. And Nathan says, drinks on me. Yeah, 100% after hitting a 22-1 bet.
Hey, I love Cisse here saying Berhalter is impressing me. Okay, Berhalter has made an incredible rise this season. Talk about the rapid rise he made. Just an intelligent player.
Look at
right?
Ajiman again.
Ajiman.
Look at Ajiman.
Let's go. My man is.
Dark.
Hey.
Here it comes, getting
Give him a
chippy.
yellow.
Here it is.
Give him a yellow.
We're in Concacaf already. We're in
Give him a
Concacaf.
yellow.
Vasquez is having a
at
tough
Ajiman.
time with Ajiman. Good hold-up play.
Nice.
All right, we're 7 minutes into this game. The U.S. is up 1-0. Oh, baby. Let's see how this goes. Absolutely love to see it. Yeah, I mean, Berhalter having that added mix of being able to take a good set piece just increases his value for the team, right? And his role within the team. Consistent service that's a gift. And that would help book your ticket to the big dance, potentially.
The big dance.
The big dance, baby, in 1 year's time. We're setting up in a bit of a 4-1-4-1. Sebastian Berhalter with a good read of that pass. Gets it back. Let's see, Big Pat. Let's start running, Big Pat.
He exposed that one a little bit.
He did. I think he should have taken his touch, just a big one into space, and just go for a run.
Or at least keep it away from the defender, right?
That
Keep
too.
the leg out. Yeah.
Andy says Berhalter's service will get him a spot on the 26-man roster. It's looking that way. I mean, I would consider it if you have someone that's got a specific skill set and profile that some of your other players don't have. You want to make sure you have that all covered.
If we're talking about earning a spot, I mean, Berhalter has done that with his play in MLS with Vancouver, and also taking that opportunity and running with it with the U.S. men's national team. Right? We thought, oh, he's on the bubble. He's playing really well, but
that's not
midfield
foul,
stacked,
dude.
right? And he's done really well. Think about this though, right? Tessman, Cardoso, who I think has really not met the expectations, the level of that we've seen from him in La Liga, right? Just the number of players that are playing in midfield. Weston's not there, Musa's not there, and he has taken massive leaps forward. But the competition is still going to be there come next summer, right? So how does he continue to build off of this month? Yeah,
it's a good shout. But he's put himself in the conversation in a real way.
Yes.
Which 6 weeks ago, you're like, oh yeah, he's having a good MLS season. And he's done really well for Vancouver, and he's chipping in with some goals and assists. But is that warrant enough to get in? And now he's in and he's proven himself, which is very cool. So exciting times for him. He's not alone. Diego Luna obviously is taking his opportunity here. Malik Tillman is taking his opportunity. And Yeah, it's gonna get spicy. This is good. These are good problems to have. Ultimately, that you have competition in every spot. And Matt Freese is another one. Big Tones, right? We haven't brought him up yet throughout the show, but Matt Freese.
Hopefully, we don't have to talk about him tonight.
Yeah, that would be a great thing. Well, he'll probably have to make a save or two.
He'll get some work tonight. And keep in mind, let's keep reminding ourselves, not everyone else. The three of us thought it was going to be Johnny Cardoso and Tyler Adams this Gold Cup, right? Like that's what we thought we were walking into with this group.
Berhalter said, "Not so fast." Oh, that's good. That's a good ball.
Let's play out of it. Breaking the lines. Tim Ream special. Holding that ball up under the pressure, breaking that first line is huge. Now what do we do with it? This was a moment, though, right after the goal where can Diego Luna and Tillman get on the ball a little bit and help us control it? And I thought Tillman did a nice job of holding a pass kind of at his Adam's apple from Tim Ream, who it's a good pass, just a little bit high, and he had to, under pressure, had to hold that ball up. That's what we need. That allowed us to break the pressure. Then we can kind of control the tempo. These are little details that make a big difference.
Who have you liked as in terms of being on the ball, making the right decisions so far in this first half?
That's a good question. I mean, I think Ajaman's done a nice job of holding the ball up for us, right? That's a big question, and Tones rightly.
Tim Ream has been sharp.
Passing out of pressure.
Berhalter's been very sharp.
Very good.
Oh, look, Max Arfson making that run forward.
Oh, that pass from Diego Luna. Excellent. Yeah, more line breaking. Right? If we can bypass people. I don't know if we talk about that a lot, but when we're watching the game, if you keep playing the player right next to you, the player right next to you, the player next, you're not really shifting the defense. But anytime you can bypass someone, now you're making some defenders move, and that in theory should open up some space and passing lanes that didn't exist previously. So, and conversely, we want to make the game. We want them to play right next to each other. Then it's easier to set traps and press collectively. But as soon as you bypass a player and skip a line, it's so hard to start pressing again because you've already broken at least one line or two or three players' lines of pressure. So anytime we can do that, anytime you're watching, you want to try to look for how many times you can bypass people with the pass.
I really like how Tyler Adams and Berhalter are working together of who's stepping, because Berhalter's kind of similarly playing the way that Tyler Adams does in terms of that initial press and not being afraid to make that tackle. So I love that. And there's a good balance between which one of them is making that initial push with the intensity to close the space down. And De La Torre is kind of floating around. He's obviously that's not really De La Torre's
I haven't even seen him on the ball.
Yeah.
He didn't touch the ball all that much tonight.
We're 13 minutes in.
Yeah, sure. He's as long as he's doing the thankless work to block some passing lanes. All right, Matt Freese touching the ball for the first time here.
It's a poor cross.
Outside of the foot. Try to get cheeky with it. As a reminder, Mexico has won 9 Gold Cups, and the U.S. has won 7. So big opportunity for us to close the gap here. Tones, you got something? Are you about to say something?
No. Yeah, on that last play, Luna jumps in a little bit early there, which leaves Arfson. If he just sits in that pocket, that one's not so easy to get wide.
Oh!
Good cover there by Tim Ream.
Oh, man, that was close.
Yeah,
Chaz, we got to get a mic on your kids. I'd love to hear kids watching the game, man.
Yeah. He said, what was close?
You're students of the game. All right, so this is probably Mexico's first foray of having 10 passes or more. And now it's leading to them having some numbers in and around our box. And they have 4 players in the box now for this cross.
There you go, Freese. Good hands.
Nice job of coming out. Now, this is a big opportunity for us we got to transition. We got to get off of his lap right now. Otherwise, Mexico's going to try to box us in. Thankfully, it goes to Tim Ream, who's one of our best passers of the ball for sure.
Hey, but Chris Richards has come a long way with I feel much more confident with the ball at his feet over this, past 2 months, 3 months, because we've seen his development
This is good.
Playing every day with Crystal Palace. Good. Max Arfson getting forward.
Yeah, but they broke that first line.
We broke that pretty easy right there.
Did you see how I always look at body language? When you break a line of press, look at the see with the forwards. Because if they're throwing up their hands like, what the hell, where is everybody? Then you know they're frustrated and things aren't working the way that they should. So I just saw a little bit of that. Just a little hint of it from Alvarado. He turned. He thought he probably forced the ball into an area where they were supposed to win. It's probably some area they talked about before the game. And then it didn't happen. And that's going to lead to some frustration, which that's a good thing. We want to make the other team suffer. Again, I want to reiterate, Mexico hasn't been down yet in this tournament. In the Nations League, they weren't down in the semifinal or final either. So this is kind of new territory for them in the last 3 or 4 months, even though they were down to Switzerland they ended up losing that game. That's the only one, and that was just a friendly. But against Concacaf opponents have not been down.
Press. Let's see the press.
Let's see it.
Go.
I love that change of speed from Tillman. Yes. Growl the foul. That's a foul. Referee. Hey, if he wants his phone number, he can just ask him for it after the game. That's getting too friendly.
They got
referee. That guy's swinging, dude. He's swinging his leg.
Dude,
okay.
I'm happy. Let the referee put the whistle in his mouth.
No, I get it.
In his pocket. Keep it out of his mouth, and that's it. We don't want to blow on it.
Well, we're good at set pieces, though. Ooh, Arson went in with a little. All right, it's getting chippy. I want to go out there and play. These are my favorite games.
Yeah, these are the best. These type of matches. It's getting physical, chippy. Tillman coming in to help out Berhalter. I didn't see a foul on the Berhalter play. I think Berhalter went down over the ball pretty easily. Trying to shield it, win the foul, and the ref was like, "No, let you guys play."
Freeman. Okay, Freeman.
Yeah, good composure there from Freeman.
You see that ball that was tried to be played behind the back line for Ajiman?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His run has to start earlier because that's the ball. It's you want to set that defender up, but also be ready for that pass. And it's a little late. It's a step or two off.
Yeah, you want the run to initiate the pass, right? And not the pass to initiate the run. Yeah, good shout. All right, they're throwing up the stats right now on screen. 1 shot and 1 shot on goal for both teams. And pretty even in fouls. Mexico has the edge in percent passing possession, 60% to 40 for the U.S.
Oh, if Raul's going out there, you let him go out there.
All right, here we go.
Yes.
Another hopeful cross from Mexico. Matt Freese sensing a one-on-one and gets cut out. But I don't mind the idea, trying to look for Ajiman in a 1v1 situation if he sees it.
Yeah, but
he's got to put it out in front of
space.
Him, right?
Yeah, you got to put it in space. You're not whipping a ball like that, throwing it to feet.
Yeah. He's got to get a little sidewinder punt.
Yeah, what we saw from Navarro with Guatemala.
Yeah, exactly.
That sidewinder in the space, lethal.
Ref, you could call the foul there. Doesn't mean you will. All right. Mexico looking a little frustrated. Javier Aguirre looking a little frustrated on the sideline. But as a reminder, Mexico scored 8 goals in this Gold Cup. 7 of them have come after halftime. So a little bit of a second half team. Right now we're a little deep. Maybe we can step up to the top of the box, keep taking the space that they're giving us.
Close them down. I was going to say, Arfson, was he going to give too much space?
I feel like the balance on the left side defensively is a little bit off for me. It's just a little bit too much space out there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if like Diego Luna's dropping in behind your outside back, that means there is some team shape issues, or like some communication could happen earlier. But I just saw Berhalter try to drop in behind Freeman as well.
That's a pass you got to connect there, and you could see Tillman look forward. And what does that space look like for Ajiman? Can he just play to his feet?
Right.
And let him hold it up? He's playing 1 versus 2 because obviously Vasquez and Montes are going to just try and stay tight to him, make it a physical match. They don't want to get into a track meet. So Can he spin? Get
You're
up.
not going to get it. Now give him.
No, goal kick.
Give it up a corner.
Oh,
It's a corner kick. I think Vasquez tried to go in. He tried to go for a penalty. What are
Is
you
that
talking
Tyler
about?
Adams on the give and go? He doesn't follow him?
Yeah. But Freeman, good cover, good spot. Corner kick for Mexico. 20 minutes in. I'm quite pleased with the first 20 minutes. How are you guys?
yeah, I mean, Chris Richards, fantastic header. I mean, the ball was incredible too from Berhalter. There have been some good moments, but I also have seen us not connect those easy passes. You know, the easy part of the game, the things you can control, they haven't all been going in the U.S.'s favor.
Yeah, it seems like Mexico's got a little bit of a grip of the game now. Doesn't mean they've done anything with it, but we're playing a little bit more in our defensive half.
Well, I think it's because of what Chuck just talked about. Some of those easy passes, you win the ball, you got to connect the first 2 or 3 passes, and then you can get into the next phase, right? And you lose those, now you're back on your heels. That happens 2 or 3 times, and what do you inherently start doing? You stop running forward in those moments. Another one. We give another one away.
That's because, in fairness to Tim Ream, our lines are a little bit collapsed on top of each other, so there's really no angles to play. He plays it quick, he gets it back, and then there's nothing. I'll give him a little bit of an out on that, but so it's not necessarily, yes, it's a missed pass, but you also have to have the options.
Correct.
Right?
I mean, all of it's got to get adjusted.
It's all connected, right? Yeah. Here's a look. If you're watching on Golazo America YouTube channel or even on the Golazo Network, we appreciate you hanging out with us for both. Here's the passing map against Mexico. The thicker the line, the more frequent the pass. So you're seeing from 13 to 3 is Tim Ream to Chris Richards, or vice versa. No, and then Ream to Tyler Adams is probably the most connected pass so far.
Yeah.
Tyler Adams to Arfson.
You can see how wide, though, our if we can throw that back up, you can see how wide our attacking players are. We try to set up shop thanks to 8, 17, and 24. You got Ajiman and Tillman and Berhalter setting up shop there. And then you got De La Torre, Luna, and Arfson on the other side. You'd like to see maybe a little bit more connective tissue, or Ajiman being a little bit more central. He's clearly setting up in that channel on Vasquez, that left center back.
We've talked about the places he likes to rest.
Oh,
oof.
A good cross there from Berhalter. No real destination, more into space.
Gotta win it now and keep it. Oof.
Yeah, we really haven't pinned them in their half too much. Or when we have, we've drawn free kicks.
Man, Berhalter's really balling in this game. I got the play to win it down the right flank, get it back from De La Torre, and he plays a perfect ball. He thinks Ajiman is going to get into that space. Ajiman was just one step off. Otherwise, he has a tap in.
Right. Yeah, Lucas makes a good shout there. For me, we got to keep pushing for goals like it's still 0-0, 100%. That helps us stay urgent, play with intention and purpose, playing on the front foot instead of playing on the back foot, being more reactionary. So, yeah, we agree with that. Some good interplay here from Mexico. They're going to get a cross off here. Good block by Alex Freeman. Another corner for Mexico.
You can feel Mexico starting to grow into this.
Yeah. You could feel it about 10 minutes ago when they first had their first like 10 to 15 pass sequence in a row. And when so on that one, this is about 10 minutes ago, they got 10 or 15 passes, got the ball out wide, and I counted 4 of their players in the box. Thankfully, they mishit the cross, and Matt Freese got it, but clearly some intent and some comfortability that they were going to grow into the game, as you mentioned, Tones.
Ooh.
Good, what comfortable save. The 16-year-old, Gilberto Mora, gets the shot off. Matt Freese with no rebounds. Ooh. So
okay.
With it. Okay, Matt Freese. So Tim Ream on the ball, taking the space. I love that. We play out of it. Little Charlotte FC connection. Little dinked pass into the corner for Ajiman. We'll take the corner.
I think it's a throw-in.
Gonna be a throw-in.
It's a good battle, though. He did a good job.
Moore just didn't get enough of that on that shot.
He created space pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Just a little touch. to get a shot off.
I like what Tillman, I believe, is on the throw, and I like that he's slowing it down a little bit. We needed to take a breath. Good opportunity for us to kind of emotionally reset. So I appreciate that little lull, purposeful lull.
You love
win it
lulls,
here.
Jimmy.
Keep it pinned in a little bit.
I'm a big fan of lulls. All right, if you're just joining us for this Gold Cup final between the U.S. and Mexico, welcome into the Golazo Network or the Golazo America YouTube channel. If you want to be part of the conversation, head over to our YouTube channel, Golazo America, right now. Join the live stream, get in the chat, and make it happen. If you're already over there, hit like and subscribe, turn on notifications, because we like to go live or do shows a lot. But it's 1-0 right now in favor of.
Are we all feeling
US?
pretty good? Are we all feeling positive so far, though? I know Mexico's growing into the game as we speak, but are we feeling pretty positive?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I'm buzzing because I hit 2 of my bets in the first 5 minutes, baby. U.S. to score first, Chris Richards to score anytime. So I'm
at least you got your priorities straight, Jimmy.
I got my priorities
exactly.
Yeah, I can have my cake and eat it too.
He's like, I made a couple of quid today, so I'm good.
Listen, I also had the U.S. to lift the trophy at even money, so it's all playing out the way that I wanted. I manifested that destiny, and we're already 2/3 of the way there.
All right, HQ.
All right, so we're gonna do a little trivia here, and this is for Chuck and Tony and the.
Oh my God!
Never mind. We're stuffing that
you
trivia
had
up.
You had to go into trivia, man. That was the jinx.
No, the jinx was me talking about my bets hitting.
Oh, damn.
Okay, Mexico scored. We're not happy about it. That was a hell of a finish, though, from Raul Jimenez.
Does this ball go under Freeman's foot here?
I don't know exactly what happens. We're going to have to watch it again. Jimenez has been on fire. He scored in the semifinal of the Nations League, the final of the Nations League. And then he scored the winner in the semifinal against Honduras. We're going to take a look at the replay here. So Richards goes to slightly step out. Tim Ream doesn't slide over.
Freeman looked like he could make a play there, huh?
What a hit, though. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it went over or hit the side of the goal. Oh, he hits that a ton. What a finish. What are you saying goalkeeper-wise? Matt Freese could have done anything different?
I mean, that's hit with some venom, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not casting any blame. Not casting any blame.
The keeper has 0 to blame there. That's a rocket upper
90
near post.
How about Freeman here, though? I feel like the ball just squirted under his foot.
Somebody said something about my bet. I did actually have U.S. to win or draw on over 1.5 total goals. So still in play. And then we went in extra time. Hey, I'm just saying, keeping it light over here, okay? Because I'm not happy that we just gave up a goal. But it was coming. Tones, you said it. It was coming. You could feel it, right? They had shifted. The momentum had shifted. And now it's up to us. Now we have to see how we're going to respond. Mm-hmm. It's a really big moment for our group of players because we're not anywhere near halftime. Got 17 minutes until halftime.
Like the first response has to be just keep the ball right now. There's got to have a sequence or two where you keep the ball. You're just chasing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, Mexico's putting us under a lot of pressure.
Just giving the ball away on these unforced errors. Just we've seen it the whole first half after the goal. It's just easy passes, and we're missing the next guy.
Yeah. I think there's a part of me, and I'd like to probably see the game without the responsibilities of being live on stream. But just how deep we've set in certain areas.
Hold the ball, Pat.
Hold the ball. If we're too deep, if our midfield is collapsing onto our back line, because then this is going to make us hard to play out of that. And when we win the ball, you still have 80 yards to go. So yes, we have to play out of it. We did it a couple times successfully in the first 10 or 15 minutes, but it's been all Mexico since. And now they look comfortable, which is the worst. We've all been on the field when Mexico gets comfortable. It's not a good feeling. Yeah, the momentum chart is up right now. The U.S. started hot, and now Mexico's hot. And they got a goal in both of those momentums.
Okay, the one Ajiman loses here, in some games you see that called for a foul, but the reality is not a foul. He's trying to get his body there,
Yeah.
and he's got to hold the ball there.
He left his legs wide open, so he shielded the ball with his legs open
Right.
as the player's checking back, and all he has to do is toe poke it through his legs. That's exactly what happened.
I'd rather the game be ref like this instead of the whistle blowing every 2 minutes for every time you touch somebody.
Yeah.
Because that game stinks.
It does. But I wouldn't mind a couple free kicks for us. Dangerous areas to help us slow down the game a little bit. Look how deep we are. Look at all the players. We're so collapsed on top of each other. It's going to be so hard to play out of those situations. Also, another thing I wanted to bring up in that build-up for Mexico, Edson Alvarez, it's so hard to oh, here they're showing the goal again. Hold on.
See, Freeman is there, man.
Wait, yeah, why didn't he?
It's like he didn't stick his leg out or something, right?
Wow. That's a tremendous finish, by the way. Hey, confidence is a hell of a drug.
And a tribute to Diogo Jota is nice.
Yeah,
a really nice tribute. Wolves together, right?
Yeah.
It does go under Freeman's left leg. He has it raised.
See that again.
And then Reem is running. Jimmy, this is more for you. Reem is running the deepest man with him, right?
Yeah.
If you just stay in line,
he could have been off there.
I know it's so tempting not to run with him, but at some point you got to hold the line, right?
Yeah. What's interesting is that Chris Richards didn't necessarily need to. I mean, if we're going to nitpick everybody, and we should, Chris Richards doesn't necessarily need to step out of that space. I understand that he wants to go address the ball, but he could have stayed in his space and sent somebody else to go do it, right? I've been in those positions too. I remember in the Copa America, we played Argentina, Chuck. It was 1-1, and I stepped into the space to step to Riquelme, and that opened up a gap because the other people, my back line didn't step with me, which I get. It happens. It all happens so quickly. And then he laid it back to Messi. Messi played it into Crespo, and we were down 2-1, just like that. It's just these little moments, these little micro decisions. And when you play against teams and players of a certain quality, they're going to punish you for those little mistakes. That was a big learning lesson for me in particular. So I would actually throw Chris Richards into the mix. Did he need to step into that space to close the ball down? Or could he have had a midfielder who should have been more than enough midfielders and or Freeman to step to the ball? And that way he could have just held his space. That way that pass wouldn't even have been on. But again, that's kind of next level nitpicking. But hey, you're on the national team, dude, right? That's part of it. Comes with being on the national team. We got to hold you to that the highest standard possible.
They're moving it nicely.
But look, even if we win the ball, Chuck, Ajiman's still 10 yards from everybody. We're chasing right now. We're reacting. It's not.
And there's an art to clearing passes, right? You clear a ball, a header, and getting it to somebody. We're struggling with that part of the game too. Mexico has actually done a real good job of that part as well.
I agree. If we're ever a step behind, that means our shape's off. Like we're not getting to the ball quick enough to close anything down. Now you have Berhalter tracking behind Freeman. That means they've created a pretty good numerical advantage. And now you got guys that are reacting as opposed to feeling comfortable and keeping the play in front of them. We've got the numbers there, but it doesn't mean we're necessarily closing the ball down well enough. And now how is Arfson in a 1v1 situation? We have
he did well though.
He did. But now we don't have any. Look how deep we are.
I think sometimes, Jimmy, that's a problem, right? When you have so many numbers back, you don't need all of those because that leaves guys ahead of the ball, right, that are open. So they're just drawing players and then playing to a free guy.
And that's what we're seeing right now.
We've got four in the back, dealing with two guys right now.
Yeah.
Tyler Adams has a guy in the half space. Luna's dealing with him.
So this is one of the things. Yeah, the coaching staff has to address this. You're going to have to leave somebody free so you can actually close the ball down. And usually that's the farthest person away from the ball. But then you have to have that pressure, right?
Yeah, at some point your center backs have to be 1v1 somewhere on the field, right?
And they're not right now.
Yeah. And then you can shift everybody from there. But look, Richard's just hanging out. But Delatorre is just there's no one. Sebastian Berhalter is look out how deep he's getting pinned because they're putting so many guys on the ball side of the field. Mexico's doing a good job.
In this moment, yeah, Mexico is doing a nice job. I don't want to take anything away from that.
That's another one.
Delatorre.
Yeah, that's that clearance pass, right? The first pass out.
Oh, I was like, please don't squirt in.
Yeah, he didn't get all of that one.
Yeah, the guys are going to be frustrated at halftime. We've been in these games before. It's not fun.
Delatorre's had a tough go. He hasn't found a rhythm in this game.
I feel like we've said that the last couple of games.
I know.
He had one sequence going forward, and that was pretty much it. Now you got to hold the ball here.
There is something to be said for, and we did not hold the ball there.
The pass was under hit.
Because we're going to face this in the World Cup as well, where we have a moment. You can tell Pochettino, the showing him right now, is frustrated. Can we work on some type of team shape where we just are comfortable with getting into man versus man? Like if we're getting into this situation, can we just lock into something? You can have maybe one or two that are zonal, but ultimately they're still got someone in their space. I wonder how Mexico would respond if we just switched to that. There'd be less gaps. There'd be more personal accountability, and you don't have to do it for the whole half. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying is there a cue that we could have as a group that, hey, this isn't working, let's switch to this? That's just something they might want to consider. Some type of a little bit more of a direct. I think you close some of those gaps.
Oh, keep it there.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it's those moments are killing him right now.
Yeah.
It's the do I bring it down and control it versus playing one touch and feeling that you're under pressure and that rushed feeling. That's just it's killing these guys at the moment.
Okay, here we go. So Freeman
Berhalter broke up another play, man.
All right, here we go. Can we hold this one up? Here we go. Go on, Tillman.
Yes.
Come on.
2v2.
Come on.
2v2. Come on. What do you got? What do we got?
Where's our options wide? Where's everybody?
Stopping for?
I was just about to say, the problem is you're going to be able only to attack in like twos or threes because we're so tired from all the defending and tracking we've been doing. So you know how it goes. You've been blowing out your backside trying to just stay connected to everybody. And then all of a sudden, now you want me to go and sprint for 60 yards? It's just not that easy. So at least we have a little bit of possession. But yeah, there should have been somebody on their horse.
I'm not blowing out my backside. I can tell you that.
Jimmy, I think the term is breathing out of your nipples. Right? That's what you do. Breathing.
So this is probably our best possession so far in the first half. I'm probably like 8 to 10 passes right now. We're probably at the 10 mark now, maybe more. And now this is what Mexico's been doing to us for pretty much the whole half. And I don't mind it. We don't need to necessarily go for the goal right now. Let's just take a breather. Let's let the ball do the work and shift Mexico around a little bit. Remember early in the game, Tones, we were talking about how we broke their pressure pretty easily. And now we kind of lost our way as they got more confidence.
And Delatorre just looked back again first. He had time to look forward.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too much of that.
Yeah. I think we've said that a couple of times, Tom.
Just look forward first, and then if you need to play back after, then you at least made the defense stop, right?
All right, so we're getting close to halftime. Here's a question from Matthew. What's up, Matthew? Would Jack McGlynn be better than Luca De La Torre in this situation? Chuck, I'm coming to you first.
Oof.
But where? What position is he talking about? Same like for like?
Like for like,
yeah.
He hasn't played him there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no in this game because of the lack of mobility. This isn't a game where he can sit back and pick his head up. It's high paced, so no. It's a difficult one because you need whoever's playing there to have the either dribbling ability or the mentality to go forward and not bend to the pressure of making the safe pass. So it's a fine line. It's an important position, and give me Weston McKennie and we're good.
When you think about any subs right now, Tones, we know that he's not going to make it.
Oh no! Don't dive there.
But I wonder if if there's any adjustments that they're kind of looking at. Ooh, good save by Freeze. Is that
'Cause-
Mora again? Is that the
Yeah.
16-year-old?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Arfson
Two-footed.
cheated and came inside. There's no need to dive in that way.
Hey, he hits that a ton, by the way. That technique that's pretty well hit. I think he thought I'm going to catch this one and realize it's coming in a little hotter.
There's one though he could have maybe put down with two hands, like, and keep it in play for himself.
Yeah,
You don't want to give. Yeah, I know it's the safe play, for sure.
All right, another corner kick for Mexico.
Tony,
We have yet to get a
you're
corner.
catching that. You're catching that.
Oh yeah, have you seen the size?
Yeah,
of Tony's hands?
I was a catcher. Man. I hated those plays, man. I hated, like, almost to a fault, like where it costs you sometimes. Like, I hate not catching those balls, or at least keeping them in play to myself.
Yeah.
Chuck has a reminder for everybody watching as well. Big Tones has catcher's mitts for hands, so it's like those are easy ones. Tones' head shake is the best.
You broke up in my ear, Jimmy. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Another corner for Mexico. All right, Richards gets there first, thankfully.
Chris Richards eating everything in the air.
He is. Another corner. 3 straight corners now for Mexico. Come on, boys. Right before half. This is not about talent. This is all about pride and dedication and focus. The intangibles are showing up in this one. 3rd straight corner for Mexico. Their 5th or 6th overall. Do we have Berhalter
Who is
marking
Berhalter
Jimenez?
marking?
Why are we having Berhalter on Jimenez?
It looked like he was on Montez.
Either way, he's not as
Yeah.
tall as either one of those guys.
It's the size of the fight, Jimmy.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, we know he'll fight, man. He was wrestling in there, man.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the
Freeman. They
Freeman.
showed it. Freeman, how does he?
Yeah,
And then Reem could have easily blocked that, but he was afraid that
maybe the cut.
Raul would shoot through his legs if you're
Maybe.
reaching,
Yeah. I think you got to go for the block first in that instance. But yeah, easier said than done. I get it. All right, 1-1. Couple minutes left here in the first half. My guess it might be 2 minutes of injury time. Or additional time, I should say, whatever they call it these days. We've actually kept Vega pretty quiet, so there's some silver linings there defensively. He hasn't had as many good looks. Moore has actually been a little bit more threatening, I'd say, from a midfield position.
That possession there, 66% Mexican possession at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Vasquez that is total dark arts, by the way. That should be a yellow, just getting a free punch at a guy. He's hit him enough that.
That's
we get it.
That's part of it. Don't act like you didn't do that, Jimmy.
I never did that. I was
the
nicest
I tell you,
defender.
man. Listening to you tonight, it's like you got soft somewhere along the way. Because
I did not. No, it's part of it. Wait, hey, I'm pissed about that free kick. Why would we get it and play backwards? Like, we're almost in their half.
Oh, now you're gonna get a card. Now
Now
you're gonna
get
get
yellow.
a
You
card.
got to give him a
Now
yellow
you're
at
gonna
this
get
point.
your
All he's
card.
been doing is kicking.
That's
The
good.
whole time.
Who's that? Vasquez?
Gallo, get
Vasquez
out of
again.
there.
Wow, Montes.
Montes came across.
Ajman just getting kicked for fun by these guys.
Good first touch
my
by Ajman. That's
God.
good.
Now,
Look at this tackle, dude.
Can we make something with this set piece? Come on, Berhalter.
Let's go. No foul there on Tillman. All right. Come on. Yeah, so what's disappointing is the more that Mexico has the ball, the less we can get our guys on it, right? Diego Luna, Malik Tillman. We need those guys to help us drive the game. Diego Luna's been pretty quiet on the ball, clearly doing the work defensively. That's never in question when I watch him play. But we need him to help us unlock that pressure that Mexico's putting us under more consistently than we've seen so far. All right, Berhalter on the ball. Let's go. Let's do it again. Chris Richards, baby.
See it.
Let's do it. Chris Richards time. Nick Catenaccio knows. Last time we had the advantage of having a little space in between their back line and the goalkeeper. We're a little bit closer to the goal. They're not going to have as much space. Maybe he can dunk on a back post. Let's do it. Giving Richards a little room to run, though. I'm not a big zonal defending guy on set pieces. I don't know about you, Tones. Zonal defending is not as good delivery. Let's see if we can take advantage of this. Let's get one more into the mixer, though. Keep the big guys up top. No, Richards already went back.
We lack 1v1 there. So you go wide, it's going to go back as soon as there's pressure.
Right. And now we lost some width. Now we play forward, and it is going to be a goal. Oh, I thought it was going in. Holy Go on. Good pressure. Keep him there. Keep looking forward. Good, De La Torre.
Pat just tripped
Go on, Malik. Referee, keep it going. Ooh, get in. Wow, what chaos in the box right now. Diego Luna! No, out of hit it over. Crap.
That was just straight chaos. I'm not going to lie. I was trying to keep up. It's all over the place.
Ajiman. That's a good header by Ajiman here. Well, Luna had a chance, huh?
Yeah, but
it's a good ball by Berhalter.
I like that we looked a little direct, though, too, right? Mix it up a bit.
Oh, right
there.
That
hit the goalie in the head?
Let's see.
It hit him in the head? Oh, yeah, he headed that thing.
That's a good save.
Yeah, that's a great play.
Wow. But I like that we looked a little direct. I know we've been kind of looking into Ajiman to kind of release the pressure, put it into the channels. That was straight route one, and I think at times it's important that the other team knows that you're looking for that every once in a while. All right, we're almost at halftime here.
Malagón took a shot.
Malagón.
he
headed it, and then he got hit by
by
the
Alex Freeman freight train coming through.
Oh man, that's really close to being a goal there. Go on.
Yes,
yeah, that would have been
okay. It was a great chance. All
right, so I'd like to see that momentum graphic again. Howard is showing it. Long ball up over the top. Freeman does a really nice job of tracking that, by the way.
Man, he almost scored that. I didn't realize how close it was. Oh, yeah. Oh, and he took a shot.
Oh, yeah. Take that. Halftime.
All right.
Halftime. 1-1. U.S. versus Mexico in the Gold Cup final. We wanted fireworks. We've gotten fireworks. We'll see if more of that continues in the second half. But we're going to take a break, and then we'll break it all down for you at halftime. Do not go anywhere.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
welcome back to Call It What You Want, your favorite average to good show. And we are watching a good to great Gold Cup final between the U.S. and Mexico. 1-1 at half. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola. And listen, we're also on the Glosso America YouTube channel. We appreciate our community over there. You guys are the best. Thoughts. I want everybody's thoughts. What are your big takeaways? Your biggest takeaway, I should say, from the first half. Charlie Davies, going to you first. What have you been? Let's go both ways. Give me what you've been impressed with and where you think we need a little bit of work from a U.S. perspective.
Well, I'll start with what we need to get better at, and that's just making the easy pass, connecting passes, playing to teammates' feet, making the right decision of checking versus into space. Some of those small details have resulted in us losing possession and giving Mexico the ball, which then allows them to keep possession and then starting to build that confidence. Because I'll tell you right now, that first goal from Chris Richards, that almost knocked them out. They didn't know what to do. They were all kind of scattered, and we didn't continue to build on that momentum. If we kept pressing and used the intensity, we could have gotten the second or the third. I think we got used to just sitting back and taking pressure. But what I did like is that I saw a competitive spirit. I saw some good tackles. Guys weren't backing down. I thought Berhalter really shined in this first half. I thought Chris Richards shined in this first half. But ultimately, I don't think we got Tillman and Luna on the ball enough. And then Patrick Gajiman, he won a foul, which led to the goal, but just didn't do enough. As that lone striker, when we don't have wingers, we have nobody to break down players from the wide areas in 1v1 situations. It doesn't exist. You can see it. Every game it goes backwards.
Let's say this, though, before I throw it over to you, Tones. From a resident number 9 perspective, right? You're on the fields. You're playing. You're Patrick Gajiman. You're turning around, and you're seeing all 10 of your teammates pretty deep. And then when you have a chance to get the ball, it's basically 1 versus 2 against their big center backs.
I've been there.
You've been there. So is that on him? Or is it on your teammates to just get you the ball in better spots? I'm sure it's a combination of both.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. You can't always put it on yourself.
No, I get it.
On the team. But
I'm just
essentially,
kind of
how are you helping your team and how are you helping yourself? And I look at some of these instances when you're talking about Montez and Vasquez, they're not the quickest players, and they're super aggressive. They read the game pretty well, but you know how to play a center back when you see a couple of times I check. And this guy's coming with me every time.
Right.
I'm going to take 2 steps and spin, play it into space. Next time, I'm going to take 2 steps, fake spin, check, receive, run off of me. I also am aware that we don't have any width. I'm also aware that there's no players that are beating players one-on-one. Okay, you have Diego Luna close to the goal. He's not afraid to mix it up and take someone 1v1. No one's on the wide area saying, I'm going to beat you one-on-one with loads of space, and I know I can get to goal. We don't have that fear factor or that threat. So it changes the way you have to play, and it allows Mexico also to throw numbers forward and take risks and cheat here and cheat there because they say, all right, De La Torre gets the ball in the wing. Where's he going? Sideways or backwards?
Right.
You don't even have to look. You don't have to check backwards or anything. You know that's where it's going. He doesn't feel comfortable trying to beat somebody in the wide area. So I think that's a big fault of the U.S. at the moment, but you got to play through it and find your strengths.
Okay. And Big Tones I don't know if you want to piggyback off of what Charlie said and some of his thoughts, but like something good you liked and something you think we need to improve upon coming into
the only one I would add, I'm with him on Berhalter and Richards. I'd add Alex Freeman to the mix. I thought he was good in the first half. Clearly good start. Not only the goal, but the possession early. We talked about how they were able to break the press. The press came really, really hard from Mexico. We were able to break it, and then we just lost possession of the ball. So one of the things I'm going to look at in the second half, those balls that are played into defenders, the first touch, can we make a pass out of it, right? Instead of clearing a ball aimlessly, it's clearing passes, right? We talk about this all the time. It's what sets you up for the next play. We can't. How many? I should have marked it down. I didn't know it would happen this much. How many times we won the ball and within one or two passes we gave it away again? Mm-hmm. So you guys know how you get in that mode. You're like, okay, we got it. You work your ass off to get the ball. You got it. Now you want to put, you want to take some air out of it at least for a little bit. You don't have to go forward all the time, but all of a sudden you start getting in We lose it after one pass. We lose it after two passes. Then wide guys don't start running, right? Because they've run like 5 times and we lost the ball. So now they're running back. So let's get better and let's get better in that area of the field, and I think that will help us. But possession for sure, we have to be sharp around the ball.
Yeah, defensively, I would just add, I feel like we're a little bit too deep. Can we stay a little bit higher? And in addition to that, can we make sure our midfield doesn't collapse on top of us? Because then when we do win it, we don't have anywhere to play with a lot of let's say angles or triangles or any type of real support to get us out of tough situations, which is why I think we're seeing and getting frustrated the way that we are while we're watching this. All right, I promised some trivia, then Raul Jimenez scored. So we're going to do it right now so don't jinx it in the second half. Here's my question, which I think is pretty interesting. Name the 5 U.S. players with the most minutes played since Mauricio Pochettino's appointment. You guys can do it in the chat right now if you're watching the Glosso America YouTube channel. And Charlie and Tony, you guys get to go now.
Ajiman.
Okay. Ajiman, number 2. Okay, he's number 2 in minutes played. So good shout there.
Diego Luna.
Not in the top 5.
Not in the top 5.
No.
Wow. That one throws me off. All right, Tim Ream.
Tim Ream, number 1. Tim Ream, number 1. Ajiman, 2.
Yep.
Okay.
I feel like Richards, because he played in the Nations League. I'm going to go
Richards. Number 5. Yeah. Number 5. We're playing like a little family feud right now. You got number 3 and 4 left.
Higher, lower, higher.
You got Ream 1, Ajiman 2, Richards 5. Who else?
Malik Tillman played against Jamaica too, right? I'm going to go Malik Tillman.
Number 3, Malik Tillman. Chuck, you're losing right now to Big Tones. Chuck, you want a shot here?
De La Torre.
Nope, De La Torre. Not it. Not in the top 5.
It's Matt Freese. No.
Matt Freese. No.
Man, I don't know. Damn.
We can't give up here.
I know.
Oh, we're naming everybody. So
okay.
Hold on. I got it. I'm gonna go with
and Max Arfston is number 4. Tim Ream, Patrick Ajiman, Malik Tillman, Max Arfston, Chris Richards, your top 5 played minutes-wise under Mauricio Pochettino. That is pretty wild, all things considered. Not the top 5 names like we would have thought a year into his tenure, a little less than a year into his tenure. All right, we are going to take our next break. When we come back, it'll be the start of the second half, and we'll obviously continue to break down the game as we hopefully watch the U.S. win and bring home a trophy. Don't go anywhere. This is Call It What You Want. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola, and you're watching on the Golasso Network or the Golasso America YouTube channel. And we are covering the Gold Cup final between the U.S. and Mexico. The final that we all wanted is happening, and it has been popping off. 2 great goals, 1-1 at half. We're excited to see the second half kick off. Big Tones, coming to you first. Substitutions have been a point of discussion for us here on the show and in the public in general. That Mauricio Pochettino, the manager of the U.S., maybe doesn't make them when he should. Maybe he should make them a little bit earlier. If you see a sub, when would you like to see it, and who will it be? Or maybe there's multiple options you want to get into.
Yeah, if we start the second half, sort of like we played the majority of that first half being pinned back, I think we got to make some changes, right? It's just a matter of who you bring off. I'm still of the mindset I want to see Damian Downs. Do you bring a McGlynn in the game or a Quinn Sullivan in the game, someone that will give you a little different look and maybe move Berhalter next to Tyler Adams a little bit? I don't think Luca Del Torre's been on the ball that much. He had one real good sequence would have been the far side on the screen. But that for me has been about it. But Damian Downs, I'd like to see him. I think we're going to see him at some point. I'd like to see him sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Damian Downs, by the way. Turns 21 today. So probably a cool birthday present. He get on the field and make a difference for us. He did score the winning penalty against Costa Rica in the quarterfinals. So trying to build off of that momentum. Chuck, how about you? Any subs you'd like to see? And what minute do you expect us to see these subs?
Yeah, Damian Downs for sure. I think he should get a proper run out in this game. And we're looking at 60th minute if Patrick Agyemang doesn't turn things around, even 55th, I'd say.
That'd be early sub for Pochettino. I know that's what we would like to see, but
but at the same time, this is a final. You got to start making these decisions early. You can't go down 2 goals and then go, oh, now I got to make our substitutions and make the panic substitutions that we saw against Guatemala, where he subbed in Tolkien for Adams, and we're sitting here going, what the? They score, and then it's Walker Zimmerman come in and the Downs go in. So I want him to be proactive and not reactive. I'm a little disappointed. Agyemang only had 10 touches that first half. Luna 23, Tillman 24. So if you're talking about the guys who are supposed to be making the game, I think that's a little bit disappointing. Sebastian Berhalter had 30, so that kind of gives you an idea of the range. I don't think they're using Patrick Agyemang all that well, but even when they have, he hasn't possessed it in the way that the U.S. needs him to do in the final third. So hopefully we see a real uptick in this first 5 minutes.
Yeah, we've actually started off the halves pretty well, even against Mexico here in this first half. So I like how we come out more often than not. Good hold-up player from Agyemang, getting in behind to Luca De La Torre. He's done a nice job of getting himself in that space. Oh, go on. You got to get better. That has to be better.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say in, back, and through, man. It's my.
I love the in, back, and through. Yeah. I'm a big in, back, and through fan.
Yeah.
Listen, just to remind everybody. Oh, I love it. Little short, long is another phrase that I use. It's very similar to in, back, and through. Luca De La Torre did get subbed out against Guatemala in the 58th minute. Brendan Aronson came on, just to give everybody a reminder of the substitutions from the last game. And then it took from the 77th minute where he took off Tyler Adams, who we've now learned had a little bit of a hamstring thing he was trying to monitor. So that makes a little bit more sense. Jack McGlynn came on for him, and then John Tolkien came on for Diego Luna in the 77th minute as well. So, and then we gave up a goal 3 minutes later, which was not fun. And then we made some adjustments. We brought in Damian Downs with 5 minutes left to go for Agyemang, and Walker Zimmerman came on for Arfston, which got us a little bit more settled. And then Tolkien dropped to that left back spot as we really shifted into a back 5 to close that game out. So we did see Aronson come on in the 58th minute. That's probably the earliest sub I've seen from Pochettino. So far. So we'll see if he's.
Oh, that's good from Adams. But you got to connect the pass.
That's the pass we're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Win it and you give it right back.
And so you never make Mexico suffer, What a ball that is from Mexico. Woo, Chris Richards doing it on both sides. No foul. Keep your feet moving. Don't foul. Good header there from Tim Ream. Come on. All right.
Close him down.
We got the energy to close. It's like, I would really put them off. They're still picking up their head and picking passes out. Now they created a 2v1. I'm looking at our line right now. Look how deep Diego Luna is. I mean, he's 3 yards, maybe less, to Tim Ream.
Mm-hmm.
That's a red flag in terms of team shape. And now he's going to be the first to press, and they're going to play right around him. And now he's not even really involved in the play. Oh, man. Then they create gaps and play through us. This is a frustrating one. Look, and they're just playing through us. Like it's not.
Look how far we're standing off of these guys, though.
Yeah, we're not getting close to anybody. Chasing shadows at the moment.
Freeman does a good job there because the guy's running in on him. He has to get his body right, so he doesn't. Is it Vega? Watch Freeman. Like this guy's taking a run at him now, so easier for the head ball.
Yeah,
and he just kind of gets his body involved.
Yeah, smart. Good play by the 20-year-old.
I keep forgetting Freeman's 20 years old.
Yeah. That's a testament to how composed he's looked. Yeah, he could have maybe been a little bit better in some areas, but he's really grown. He's grown into himself, into the tournament, I should say. All right, here we go. No way. Dude, Richard's doing some good work there.
Chris Richards, closing that down.
Who was that left this guy there?
Freeman, though, wasn't it? I think we jinxed him.
No, Freeman was the one who recovered. That was Berhalter. It's in front of him. That was initially Berhalter's guy.
Gallardo. Yeah, Richard's making some key blocks, clearances. Obviously scored the only goal for the U.S. throughout. We have no corners in this game. 6 for Mexico. And that's a goal kick, thankfully. So we had a couple minutes here to start the half, but it's looking like more of the same, Chuck. Yeah.
I have.
Could be a long second half.
If I'm Pochettino, I have to make these subs early. You don't want to disrupt the team if they're playing well, but they're not really connecting passes. So look at this. A giveaway.
We can't connect more than 2 or 3 passes right now. Let's count. 1. Okay, good composure there, Max. Nice job. 2. Let's bypass if we can. 3. We need some olays here from everybody in the chat. Let's get the olays going.
You don't get olays until you get to 14, 15.
Well, this is our 14 or 15.
5.
Yeah. Oh, what a turn by Tillman.
Oh, yes.
So 5. We got 5. But I like the intent there. There's something, add a little spice to it. Now we're in a counter attack.
Oh my
God.
That was close.
Andy, thank you for the Ole in the chat. I appreciate you. Alvarado, no goals or an assist throughout this tournament, but I do like him as a player, and he almost
was close.
Makes us suffer here. Almost punishes us for that giveaway.
Oh,
Froze was frozen.
Freeze was frozen.
he was frozen.
I didn't mean that, but that's
he walked us right into that.
Yeah.
He said red light.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I know we want to build out of the back. Would you guys have a problem if we went long a couple times here, won the second?
That you cannot give away.
3 passes. That one lasted 3 passes. So our max right now in the second half is 5 connected passes.
So would you have any problem if we just put the ball down and knocked it 70 yards up the field once or
twice?
The
second ball.
But Tony, again, that has to come with Ajiman making the run to give you a chance.
No, I'm talking about off the goal kick. Sorry, Chuck. Off the goal kick. Why not put it in their half for a little bit, relieve a little bit of pressure?
Look how many we have. 7 guys in a line.
Good defending.
7 guys in a line. That's good defending, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 guys in a line.
No, this isn't going to work here.
Yeah, we're gonna get punished, dude.
You
can't play like this. We've all been a part of this game. They're so frustrating. At some point, you're gonna break. There's gonna be a gap. Somebody's gonna be
everybody's chasing, right? And there's then all of a sudden it falls to the one guy who doesn't step, or he does step and he's played in behind that space.
And then it's a domino effect. Everybody's now a step behind.
But I'm saying that was one-on-one good defending from Freeman.
It was. I don't want to take anything away from that. Okay. So right now our shape is, our line's good, right? We're not too deep. We're actually pressing forward. And we force them into a bad pass. It's a little thing, but it makes a
That's
difference.
That's our Tyler Adams just putting pressure. Oh, this is another look at that Ole from Tillman.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that just got a little bit
Fantastic
away
turn.
from him. Yeah, that's a nice turn. Okay, good hold up play. Yes, Ajimon, very nice. 3.
Get some bodies forward.
We need some help here. 4, 5. Keep it going. Good, Tyler. 6. We need his options, dude. 6. Okay, starts over. 1. We're still in their half. That's good. 2, good. 3, better.
Okay.
And back and through, Tones. 4, getting it out wide. Ooh, Arson with a little bit of juice. Ooh, okay, Arson. I don't mind it. This is something positive. It's positive. But that was a broken sequence, but we had what? 6 or 7 passes. We win it right back. We get 4 or 5, get it wide. Turns into a good chance. More of that, please.
By holding the ball, what we allowed players to get forward. So that little ball that's on the sideline that maybe gets lost, all of a sudden now you got players closer. You win the ball right back.
Yeah, right.
So and it came when you held the ball 5 or 6 passes.
Right. But also it started too where our line was a little bit better when we were defending. Right, we weren't too deep. Okay, good. We got to win this one and play out of it.
Got to keep it here. Good.
Or draw a foul.
That's a foul.
All right. Now we're getting chippy. No, show the chippiness. This referee, I think, done a pretty good job, all things considered.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't let you get too out of control, which I appreciate. All right. 2.
Three, 4.
3. Yeah. Are we on 4 right now?
Here. There's no angle for anybody there.
Yeah. Straight ball for a straight run.
So now you got to get forward. Get numbers forward now.
This is where you can collapse on the ball. Yeah. Don't foul there, though. Don't give away.
Get around the ball.
Oh, they can't get play out of that. Now we got a 1v1. Go on, Richards. Keep him there. Oh,
yes.
Well done.
Out of it. Good, Tyler.
Yes.
Good read. No. We have player. We could have maybe played out of that one. Now we're playing into a 1v4.
Yeah.
That's where Freeze has got to maybe. We had our numbers. I think we were set spatially. Okay.
And then to nobody. It's if you are launching it, at least play it to the Ajimon to give him a chance.
Yeah. All right. Now we're under it. Take a look at our shape. Look at the lines collapsing on each other. Got a lot of dudes in the box. And that when you drop that far in the box, guess what? Your opponent's going to just keep going into the box too. Oh, man.
Oof.
Oh.
Corner.
Tricky, huh?
All right. Before this corner kick is taken, we got a special guest joining us. We call him Tommy Scoops. Other people know him as Tom Bogert. Tom, welcome to the show. Welcome in to Call It What You Want. Great to see you as always. Best mustache in the game. How are you feeling?
What's up, boys?
How are you feeling? Give us your thoughts right now, Tommy Scoops.
Ooh, I will say the first 10, 15 minutes really felt like an old school Mexico U.S. national team. Just a bunch of dogs out on the field for both teams. And I missed that. I enjoyed a lot of that, particularly nice for the national team to get out to the 1-0 lead. But, man, Mexico are a wagon right now. And again, are we sure this game's in Houston? It's not in Mexico City?
Yeah, from what we understand, it's in Houston. Yeah.
It was a good preparation in St. Louis for the away game against Guatemala.
I love that. So
oh my.
Yeah, we're taking some risks here. So Tom,
is your stream all jacked up?
Yeah, it's all jacked up.
It's all jacked up
all the way.
It's not just me. I always get worried with technology, Tom, that it's me. I got nothing to do with the internet, with the Wi-Fi.
Like my screen.
I wouldn't have that any other way, Tom.
It could not be more jacked up, Tones.
Okay.
So Tommy Scoops, since we have you here and we know that you are a guru in the transfer space, tell us a little bit about Ajimon going to Derby. What's the latest? I know that's happening, or what's reportedly happening.
Yeah. So what was it? Thursday, July 3rd. Late at night, I got the message that deal had been agreed in principle. There were still final details that sources I talked to were expecting to get done a little bit later in the week. But again, the baseline agreement between both clubs and between Ajamong and Derby County is there. I was joking with one of the sources I was asking. It's like, hey, maybe this will happen on the 4th of July. They'll feel a little patriotic to give Ajamong his move, and they kind of get the agreement just ahead of time. So that's where things stand. Still final details and everything to sort, but Ajamong off to Derby County.
How about there's got to be some. We know Malik Tillman, right? Those have been going on for a while. But how about like the Berhalters, the Lunas, the Freemans? Like, who are the sort of the next group of guys, if you will, that we should be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those guys make sense, but in a World Cup year, and let's go case by case basis, because it's never just a blanket, you should stay or you should go. It depends on every situation. I'm going to start with Diego Luna. If Diego Luna wanted to go to Tigres or Cruz Azul or Chivas, if he wanted to go to Liga MX and make more money, he would be gone by now. From what I'm told, is Luna prefers to go to Europe at some point. But even let's take that back. The Real Salt Lake team is built around his strengths. He is the guy right now, unquestionably. That's a difficult thing to leave and a risk to leave that in a World Cup year. And he continues to get called in and continues to be a focal point in this team. Again, I know that there are a lot of, air quote, first teamers missing from the national team this summer, but he's in a really good spot. Mauricio Pochettino has made it clear he will call up guys if they're performing well. It doesn't matter if it's in the Premier League or MLS. So I would be surprised if Diego Luna left over the next year. Again, that's not
okay.
That's not 100%. Things have changed. Things are fluid, but it'd be a risk if he left Real Salt Lake, because there's no guarantee that one, he'll get the same playing time, but two, he definitely won't get the same where the system is more or less built around him.
All right, and then let's speak about Charlotte FC. I want to go back to Ajimon. Okay, he leaves and goes. What does Charlotte FC do now to replace that? They already have one DP slot open. Would this open up anything else for them to potentially explore?
They could get some allocation money, but the DP spot is the most important thing, and I'd be remiss for not mentioning this agreement is around $8 million US, plus $2 million in add-ons, plus a sell-on clause. This is for a player that Charlotte rejected a bid from Luton Town in January for $4 million. That's looking pretty good right now. Luton Town got relegated, and Ajamong is getting a better move, and Charlotte are getting double the money that they were offered. So for me, this is all positive. It did get a little bit contentious because Ajamong was ready for Derby when the offer came in last week. Probably it took about a week from offer to acceptance, because there were several other teams I was told that were looking at him and saying hey, an offer's coming, hey, we need to sell our forward, or this needs to happen. And it became a time where both Charlotte and Ajamong were we can't wait. We have a great offer on the table. The player wants to do it. It is completely fair value. Ajamong going to Derby, and Charlotte have that open DP spot. We'll see exactly where they use it. In past years, they've been pretty ambitious about, again, they landed Wilfred Zaha. That was a difficult deal to get done. They tried really hard for Miguel Almiron before that. That would have been a difficult deal to get done. Albert Gronbeek, he went from Bordeaux Glimt to Rennes, I believe, in France. So they've gone shopping for some, expensive and big name players in the past. So we'll see where they go. They're obviously ready for this eventuality, and I'm firmly expecting them to sign a DP center forward this summer.
All right. That'll be interesting to see. Let's keep it on this front. Jack McGlynn, he just agreed to a new contract extension.
Correct. He'll be staying with the Houston Dynamo, and the plan is that he's still going to go to Europe at one point. It's just not going to be this summer. My assumption is it probably won't happen until after the World Cup. Big collision here. Probably won't happen until after the World Cup, because he's another one where he's playing a really specific role for Houston, and that's a team where he's going to be a focal point. And if he keeps getting called in, that's going to be difficult to leave. And then again, the new contract rewards the player, gives him more value. And for Houston, it gives them more strength for the eventual sale to Europe, because that will come one day. The player, his side, and the club worked collaboratively as hey, this doesn't mean you keep me forever. This is, hey, we'll work for you. So now you have a stronger negotiation point when those offers come in, as long as you let us go for a reasonable fee.
Nice. All right, let's keep this going. Josh Sargent, what's the? I know he's not being talked about as much because he's not part of this group for the Gold Cup, but obviously we're all really interested as to where he goes next. Yeah,
Sargent's going to leave Norwich City this summer, from everything I've heard, dating back to May. Again, you think back last year, he was really close to going to FC Cincinnati. If Norwich City, they were asking for £25 million or something like that. Cincinnati would have paid $20 million US, and I don't know if they had, all of the details agreed on a contract, and I don't know if you're even technically allowed to. But let's just say it was described to me as personal terms weren't going to be an issue if Norwich agreed to fee last year. This year, after his best season ever, he's in the championship team of the season. It's going to be Premier League or Bundesliga, from what I had heard. Talks are ongoing, but you know how it goes in the summer window. And again, with I mean this in the most respectful way of Josh Sargent. It's just the way that the window works. The players like Giorkesh, Oshiman, the top strikers, they move now. And then it takes a little bit while for, okay, then there's a replacement for that guy. And then this team sells that player and then it starts moving. So there's nothing to fear with Josh Sargent not moving yet. It's going to happen this summer. It's just, this is the normal cadence of a transfer window.
How important is Weah's move in the summer if it happens?
That's a great question. So from what I've understood is that Weah doesn't want to leave. and we'll kind of see what happens here. Oh, another big question. I don't know if I'm behind you guys or not. But Weah, I don't think he wants to leave Juventus. He didn't have any talks with Nottingham Forest. I believe that the reports are out there that they agreed a fee for him. So maybe Juve are trying to, gently nudge him out, but it's not something that he was looking for, as far as I understand.
Tommy, I got to ask you about one of the most important players that we thought of this generation in Gio Reyna. It seems to me that Berhalter is closer to making this World Cup roster in 2026 than Gio Reyna at the moment. The irony is real. Tell me what is the latest news with Gio Reyna, because it seems like he stayed just to prove a point that he could get into this team, and he's gotten less playing time. He is completely out of the picture. So what are his movements now that Dortmund are out of the Club World Cup?
Dortmund don't want to keep him. His contract's up in a year, and it's an open secret that he's on the market. He's available. Hasn't been a ton of movement. I gotta imagine somebody's gonna move for him. It just makes sense for him, for Dortmund, for again. Let's say you're a PSV. Let's say you're an Ajax. Let's say you're maybe Anderlecht. Maybe it depends on where Gio Reyna sees himself right now. I think he's been humbled. I hope the people. More importantly, let me take that back. I hope the people around him have been humbled, because they made a really bad decision pushing him to Nottingham Forest a couple years ago when things were still kind of on the tracks, and that really pushed it to this is really bad. He was there's 10 players on the Premier League bench. He wasn't even making the bench. He was a healthy scratch from the matchday roster, not even an unused sub. And I think a lot of us could see that coming, or at least see the fear there at a club like Nottingham. He would have been a better fit for Serie A, for Ligue 1, for a team where they're going to have possession and he's going to get to play more and not defend as much. Nottingham Forest, they were in a relegation battle that year, so it's been disappointing, and I do hope that's a club where he'll have the playing time and the ability to be in a possession-based team, so we can hopefully see the best of him.
Yeah,
Como.
The U.S. has to make a sub. It's
65th minute. No subs have been made. I do want to give a shout out to Sebastian Berhalter for being true to his mark. His marking right there.
Dude.
I mean, find somebody that loves you as much as Sebastian Berhalter loves marking Raul Jimenez. That's what you need to find in your life. Incredible dedication to his craft.
Scoops, you got one more in you? If I ask you about Musa,
yeah. Let's go. I mean, has there been any updates since the initial?
You tell
Napoli
us,
report?
Tommy Scoops.
That's why we brought you on, Scoops.
I kind of assumed on that one. It seemed like that was what was coming out of Italy, and I haven't heard anything. I guess that would take that off the track, but hey, maybe I wasn't ready for Yunus Musa here. Maybe my mind was on vacation for him, like he was from the team here. So that's about what I have on Musa. Not so much. Sorry to disappoint.
No, it's no problem. Let's move on to Tanner Tessman, because now with Lyon and the situation they're in, I know there were some clubs that were interested in him when he was trying to move from Venezia the season before. Where could Tessman potentially land if Lyon can't figure it out?
Yeah, so Tanner Tessman is I respect his career development. He's always been somebody who's, rather than just kind of jumping at the first big club or maybe to have a little bit of that Inter Milan was a real thing. I believe it was Juventus as well, but Inter Milan was like, yeah, we'll sign you, then we're going to loan you. And he was like, that doesn't sound great for my development, right?
Sorry.
I see Jimmy reacting. That means I should stop talking.
It's just, Arston was tight on Vega, then dropped off, and then Vega took him on and did a cross. And I'm like, you're already tight.
Oh, there's a handball here, man. They got to go back. This is a handball.
Yep.
This is a handball, period.
Will they take a look at it or no?
I didn't see.
I know the whole.
Why do you make that?
I know that bracing your hand on the ground, but there's nothing for bracing your hand on the ball. They got to call this, man.
Looks like they're not. And now Mexico's
That's
going to have like
unbelievable.
their 1,000th corner kick. I think they're on 10
That's
corner kicks.
unreal.
We have 0 corner kicks, and they have 10.
By the way,
That's-
Tyler Adams has given a couple really bad balls away, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this one.
Yeah. So we're 23 minutes.
Surprising that
23
wasn't
minutes. Sorry,
recommended,
finish your
but
Tessman
at
story.
at least
Tessman
help.
story.
Yeah, sorry. First of all, when Venezia got relegated, he stayed. And that was the best decision for his career. He developed and became one of the best midfielders in Serie B. By the time they went back up, he was like, okay, I've given my time here. I didn't leave when we got relegated. Like, I got to go now. There was, again, Inter Milan, and that, a lot of, like, it's really hard for any player. Like, dude, Inter Milan wants me. I don't care. I'm going to fight. I'm going to win my spot there. And it became like, oh, it'd be a loan. And then what happens, I don't know. They have X amount of players already on the books on loan.
Damian Downs.
And-
Let's go.
That's good. I'm looking forward to seeing a shit for him. But yeah, with Tessman, this summer it's Atalanta want him. There are a couple other Serie A clubs, a couple other Ligue 1 clubs. But he trusts the project at Lyon, again, provided that this relegation is overturned, which people at that club privately and publicly both and privately from what I've spoke to are confident it's going to get overturned. If it does, he wants to stay. And he's going to play a lot, and I think that'll be good for him in a World Cup year. But again, he's a guy that we don't talk about a lot. There's a lot of big teams who like him.
Okay. Appreciate all that insight. Damian Downs coming in for Luca de la Torre, which means we're going with 2 strikers, baby.
Proper football, right, Tone?
Proper football. Here we go. 2 strikers. We're bringing it back. Tommy Scoops. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Appreciate you having me. I always love hanging out here.
Interesting move here, huh?
I like it.
We've seen it a couple times, right?
The
I
thinking
think 2
to
other times.
get out of the low blocker, at least put a little bit of pressure at the top, right, Jimmy?
Yeah,
So
100%.
you think we will eventually see a Pepe Balogun partnership?
I mean,
I would
looks
love
like he's
that
not
to be an
opposed.
option.
Yeah. Yeah, same. We'll see though, kind of who's setting up shop to be the highest point of the attack, and if they're kind of staying even, or here we're seeing them kind of flatten out. Yeah, this is kind of sick. I like this.
Little worried about is that I know it's not technically a double pivot because Adams will be the deepest midfielder, but that looks like Luna in more of an 8-ish role right now, and Malik Tillman as a left midfielder.
Halter on the right, Tillman on the left, Luna in the middle.
Yeah.
Why not Tillman in the
4-4-2,
middle?
baby.
That's kind of what I thought too, Tony.
Or are they just
dropping a little
stuck
bit.
here through possession, maybe?
It could be 4-5-1. Yeah, it's hard to say, right?
They
That'd
might
be
stuck in
disappointing if
this.
that happened immediately.
Defending so deep. So deep. Whew. Well, Tommy Scoops, what are your thoughts on let's say the FIFA Club World Cup and maybe some takeaways from MLS and US soccer in general from this? I mean, even in the build-up, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this, and then we'll send you on your way. We appreciate you hanging out with us. But just as a precursor to the World Cup next year, I mean, what are your kind of learnings maybe from that competition that can benefit the World Cup next year?
Yeah, it's a good question. For me, I'm always, and again, U.S. soccer can be guilty of this. It definitely is guilty of this too. But like, I'm always a fan of more affordable prices. I'd rather have a packed house for a lower total fee than 70% full. Or again, the Club World Cup stuff was different. That's not going to be a problem with the World Cup, even in an expanded way, even for the non-big time matchups in the group stage. I doubt that they're going to have trouble filling those stadiums. But I just they talk about dynamic pricing and just. Makes me a little sick that we put the business before the football in pretty much
and the people, right? That make it special.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. We have all this backwards. It should be it shouldn't be all football people making decisions and stuff, right? But like feels like a lot of these are made by just people with MBAs
what is going on?
Football people. So
how are we not able to connect passes?
Yeah, I don't even know. Actually,
We're
good question here. Last one. I'm adding one more for you, Tommy.
I'm good as long as you want to keep me.
Okay, cool. So any players that maybe showed well from MLS teams in the Club World Cup that might be getting some sniffs from teams around the world?
If Christian Roldan was 5 years younger and didn't have this incredible connection to Seattle, I'd be banging the drum for him. Obed Vargas, that's nothing new there. Bangkok Formaski, right? That's another guy. Like these are dudes that are well known to scouts and stuff. It's unfortunate that Nathan Ordaz got injured in the first game because he was off to a really strong start those first 25 minutes. And I think he would have been one of those guys who was off the radar to, like, say, scouts at some of these other clubs. So that's kind of where I see it. And again, maybe some MLS players that, weren't super familiar with the big Brazilian clubs. And again, not that they didn't know who they were, but like, oh wow, like this level is incredibly high. Like, oh my God, look at these Brazilian teams competing with the best European teams. And there's a lot of money there too. You look at Facundo Torres is one of many who've went from MLS to Brazil, and he was in this tournament. And like, oh hey, like maybe it's not Europe or bust. Maybe I could go play in Brazil. So I think that that's something that could turn some heads.
Yeah, playing in Brazil would be next level. The culture, and I mean, I've seen so many games down there. It's unreal.
Yes, good
Go on,
defending
go on,
from
go on, go on.
Richards has been
God, we can't
a beast.
hold the ball up though. All right, let's turn our focus back into the game. So we made one sub. With all due respect to you, Tommy Scoops, you stay with us though. We made one sub so far. Damian Downs is coming in for Luca De La Torre. We've gone up to 2 strikers. Tillman is down right now, drawing a foul for us, which allows us to take a breath. Hopefully gives our coaching staff an opportunity to evaluate what's happening. We're still playing a lot in our own half, Big Tones. So something needs to change.
I'm not playing in our own half is one thing. Just losing the balls that we are is just complete. You know, when we have an opportunity, we've got to get out of some of these situations.
Yeah, there seems to be. We've talked about this before, like hitting a hopeful pass versus hitting a pass that you know is going to connect, and it feels like we're hitting more hopeful, or even the ones we're knowing aren't connecting either. So that's double problem.
Chris Richards has been spot on tonight. I can tell you that though. I'm really happy with his performance. Even those little cushion headers, he's finding the midfielder's feet. He's making the right pass. The tackles have been there. Let's get forward. I'm sick of seeing us in our own half.
Here we go.
Take 2-3 touches and lose it.
Okay.
Corner.
That could have been. We don't even have a corner yet. That's pretty wild, all things considered. All right, Mexico making us up here. Orbelin is coming on for the youngster, the 16-year-olds, Gilberto Mora.
Best compliment you can give to him is he couldn't, other than obviously he's been a great story, so you know he's 16. If you went into this game blind, you wouldn't have been able to pick out the 16-year-old.
100%.
Outside of some of these zoomed in ones where he looks like a kid. I'll tell you, the way he played, he doesn't look like a kid, man.
Yeah, it's unreal.
He creates space on the dribble to get shots off. Yeah, you can tell he's a player, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Orbelin Pineda coming in. 6 of his 12 international goals have come in the Gold Cup. So we'll see. Well, hopefully that goes 6 goals in 13 games. No goals coming into this one. Tommy Scoops, we're going to let you go because we have another special guest joining us in a little bit. We appreciate all of your insights, and please keep seeing you. Tom Bogert, everybody. Appreciate you, Tom.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you, Scoops. Appreciate you always.
Scoops, best mustache in the game. Always on top of all the insider stuff that we need to know.
1v1 defending. Let's see it.
Go on.
Good. Berhalter break.
Berhalter.
Well done. It's good stuff.
Broken up a lot of plays. I'd like to see his interceptions this game. He's got to be one of the top of the whole out of both teams.
You would think with 2 strikers,
man,
there'd be the possibility of playing into space to one of them in behind.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I haven't seen it.
Dude, we have 9 guys, 18 yards or deeper, and our goalkeeper 10. That's going to catch up to you. You play in these games, it's just so hard to play out of it. Where are you going to go? I'm going to beat a dead horse here, but
they're going to play forward to
we just can't ever break the pressure. It's a vicious cycle because we got the guys there. There's obviously a willingness and a desire to make plays and defend because we got the numbers there. And the guys are trying to do their jobs. No problem with all of that. But if our spacing isn't right, we're never going to play out of those situations once we win it. And then guess what? That's what the stats look like. We're giving up a lot of free kicks. We've given up 11 or 12 corners. We have no corners ourselves, which is clear and obvious where most of the game is being played. And we're under so much pressure to be perfect all the time. Please be offside. Yes. Thank you. Good call, ref. Excellent. Yeah. I'm surprised we've only had 1 sub, but we've seen this before with Brendan Anderson coming in for De La Torre in the last game, and then he made 3 subs.
Who's the next sub? Is it Ajiman?
Ajiman off and
he might be on, by the way. That was close. That was really, really close. I hope they don't look at it.
Well, they're looking at it.
They're looking at it for sure.
Everybody's doing the VAR sign.
Oh man. Well, speaking of VAR, let's bring on our guru of all things referees here at CBS Sports and Paramount Plus, and call it what you want, of course. Christina Uncle joins the show. Christina, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Always fun with you guys.
All right, so let's talk. No!
We knew
Oh,
it.
the goal. No!
Knew it.
Ah,
Oh, no! Christina, thanks for coming on the show.
Of
We'll
course,
see you
perfect
later.
timing.
Oh, man. Mexico has scored to make it 2-1. Edson Alvarez gets on the head of a deflection at the near post, or a flick onto the near post, and heads it in. That must have been really close. It looked close when you see the replay. It looks really close, and it does obviously look like he's on. Christina, I guess what we're kind of frustrated about was that handball that maybe should have been called in the box for us against Mexico. But
Man,
we're
that
kind of in our
sounded really
feelings right now.
one-sided.
Yeah, what do you think about this play? It's up on the screen right now.
Yeah, it's not a handling offense. And I know people are gonna be like, "Well, touch his hand." Yes, it touched his hand, right? But that doesn't indicate, right? It has to be a deliberate handling. Here, what's going to play against it is he's falling already. He's committed into the tackle. His left arm is already extended. He's bracing for that fall. It just bad luck or timing, or maybe great luck and timing, that the ball ends up like literally directly underneath his hand as he's going in to kind of plant. So because the ball's not there and then he extends his hand, this is one of those that we call non-deliberate handling offense, and therefore it would be called. Referee Mario was right there, spot on, called it big, like no kind of a thing. And it's a very easy call from the referee world to say this isn't a handling offense because it's not a deliberate handling offense, because he was already falling and bracing himself.
Okay.
So, Christina, this falls into that new law where, guys sliding, right? They're bracing with their backhand, and this falls into that same category, or a different sort of bucket, if you will?
Different sort of bucket, because he's not sliding necessarily here. That's the one we're thinking of, right? When you're kind of sliding to
Right,
brace or
right.
kind of impact on that ball. This just goes down into the definition of deliberate and the different considerations we take a look at. Because at the end of the day, you come into that tackle, you're going to be falling forward. You're not going to keep your arms behind your back and face plant into the ground. That's just not. This will fall into natural. So not necessarily that, but it's more that consideration of what's considered deliberate or not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How overall, Christina, what have you seen from the referee this game? I think he's been pretty solid, all things considered.
Yeah, no, Guatemalan referee Mario, lots of experience, done this before. USA, Mexico, they're historic matchups. Everyone knows about them, right? Like anything can happen at any second, at any given time, whether it's the dark arts or people just decide to get excited at that moment. So he actually has basically allowed the players to play, let them make the decisions in the respect to, not calling anything unless 100% misconduct, managing them through, right? Any set pieces, there's a little bit of shenanigans going on, not making it too big of a deal and allowing this game to flow. This is probably one of the best USA Mexico games from a management standpoint I've seen in the past couple of years. I know we've done this matchup multiple times with you with CBS Sports, that these games could go haywire, but his management style is perfect for this game. His reputation and him having seen both of these teams multiple times and vice versa, it's been lending really, really well to allowing the game to flow without endangering the safety of the players, and also kind of cutting out some of that dark arts stuff.
Too much.
So, yeah, too much there.
Way too much.
I like us having a little bit of urgency. Obviously, the game's changed, so Mexico's going to sit back a little bit, but I'm kind of curious with regard to what kind of subs we're going to make, if any, that's going to help us get this game back under control. That's definitely onside. Alex Freeman holds on. Edson Alvarez for that second goal. That's unfortunate. Can we talk about goal line technology? Why is it not in place here for a Gold Cup final in Houston? Because they have the capacity to do it. No, Christina?
They have the capacity to do it. It also comes down to whether or not, Concacaf is going to invest the dollars in for GLT technology in that, right? The decision made on the field, their ability to do it, they do have cameras. It's really just comes down to a cost factor. It's the competition, it's the decision makers. Sorry, I am clearly way behind you guys on my live feed because I just saw that replay, Jimmy. Yeah, it really comes down to the competition. It's nothing to do with the officials necessarily. We prefer goal line technology. I was watching the Euros a little earlier today, and in the women Euros, that they have goal line technology. They
Yeah.
have semi-automated offside technology. They have VAR. Like UEFA invests 100% at the major tournaments, whether it's men or it's women. That's something that I would prefer and love to see when we do here in CONCACAF. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. And I think there's enough money and enough at stake from a stakeholder standpoint that it should be included.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Christina, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for hopping on with us. We're still in our
thank
feelings.
you, Christina.
Thanks,
And Mexico
Christina.
took the lead, but
Yeah, no
yeah.
worries. I
Christina,
know.
you're
I'm
the
kind of
best.
rooting for the I'm kind of rooting for the Japino in the center, so he continues to have a great game. So go
Yeah.
Guatemala. I'm Guatemalan, so
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina. We'll have you on soon. Thank you.
of course, no problem. Cheers.
Christina Uncle, everybody.
By the
She's
way,
best.
Tyler Adams was subbed. Jack McGlynn was brought on.
Yeah.
It seemed like that didn't go over well with Tyler, of course, being subbed off.
Yeah, well, he wants to have an impact in the game, and he's obviously
Yeah.
scored against Mexico in the past in big games. I think what's interesting right now is that Mexico's making 2 attacking subs. So you have Santi Jimenez coming on and Chino Huerta coming on as well. And
what does that say about Aguirre, Mexico? You know, is this
going for blood?
Yeah,
That's what it
this
sounds
is
like.
we're not
Yeah,
protecting a lead. Essentially,
They have attacking players to put on. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at our bench right now and like, where are you going to go? Can you call on Brian White at this moment in the game, in this moment in the tournament? Like, you haven't called on him all tournament, so he's kind of out.
Pat. Come on, Pat. Come on. Go on, Pat. Go on, Pat. Oh, good tackle.
that's not his game.
Yeah, he's still got to get a cross off, though, if he finds himself in the... No, none of this time-wasting crap. No. I won't accept it. This is the dark arts. Good tackle by Alvarez. Alvarez has been excellent. He's a good player, man.
Yeah, he's really good.
Very good.
Looks like they're bringing in Aronson and Tolkien.
It looks like... Okay, so Santi Jimenez is coming in for Raul Jimenez. That's a straight swap. And I don't know. Tolkien's coming on too. You say that one, Chuck? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a Tolkien. You know,
Huerta, who for Ruiz maybe or
Oh,
Vega?
wait.
Huerta.
No, I think they did the U.S. first. So maybe I don't know if they got that right. They look like they're having a shocker because everybody's upset right now.
Yeah, everyone.
They got the
But
numbers
this is
wrong.
playing into the hands of who's
Wait,
getting
somebody
the
just
yellow?
got a yellow for running their mouth. Maybe I don't know who is. So what do I? As we wait for this, what did you think about Christina Uncle's interpretation of that handball? I mean,
But it's by law. It's not. There's not an interpretation,
Interpretation.
right? She's
That's
following.
true.
Yeah,
that's
she's
true. That's true.
she's applying the law. So
yeah, but the law.
I
is
don't
rubbish.
like it. Yeah,
the
I don't like
the
it.
law is rubbish, essentially. But
Yeah, you're right. In this one,
you put your hand on the ball like that, and that's not a handball. I don't. What are we doing? What do you mean the
I'm with you,
law?
man.
Like you can't put your hand on the ball. Whether it's there's intent, whether it's accidental, it should not matter. You should not be allowed to put your hand on the ball like that. That's crazy to me.
All right. So Arfston comes in for. Excuse me. Tolkien comes in for Arfston. Reyes comes in for Sanchez, who just got hurt. Looks like Chino Huerta is going to come in for Alvarado. The Jimenez's switch off, and Diego Luna comes off for Brendan Aronson. So Aronson and Tolkien on for Arfston and Diego Luna.
Yeah.
Tyler Adams is off as well. There's a big 5 or 6 minutes here. Chuck, you called a 2-2.
I did.
Yeah.
who's Brendan coming on for?
Came on for Diego Luna.
I'm
Luna.
not giving up. I'm not giving out hope right now. I'm not giving up hope.
Come on. Oh, I wouldn't either. Because Mexico's going to sit back a little bit. I know they brought on some players, and we're going to have a little bit more urgency because we have to have it. Victor makes a good comment. Why did it take us 73 minutes to start playing? It's just kind of how it goes sometimes, especially when we score early. There's a natural collectiveness of like, okay, let's just manage this. And then they score to make it 1-1. You're like, okay, we'll figure it out. And then they make it 2-1, and now you have to go after it. It's a story as old as time, Victor, unfortunately.
Chuck, did you say Tyler had a reaction after coming off?
Yeah, he kicked something on the bench.
Yeah. He was not happy.
Yeah.
I think if you're him, right, you're thinking, Hey, I'm
Like-
a starter on the A team.
Yeah,
right,
I'm the
with all the
captain.
best players.
Yeah.
If I'm not the captain, I'm the most respected in terms of
Right.
what a captain is responsible for. And you're taking me off in a game like this. Now, to think about how he played tonight, did he play his best? No, he didn't play his
No.
best. So, from that standpoint, you could say, I needed you to do more. I needed you to connect more passes, be a little bit more aggressive, come forward. What we saw when we saw him score against Mexico from long range, we haven't seen him take one shot tonight. And I understand.
Well, I don't think he's even been around our box all that much.
You're not, but then you got to get the guys up, right? To push them up, play a little bit higher.
Oh, you see Santi Jimenez's finger? Oh, that
man.
was gross,
Yeah,
dude.
that's going the wrong way.
Yeah, they're gonna have to tape that thing together. So we're adding some injury time here. A chance actually for the coaching staff to get the group together and like, okay, let's chat a little bit. Oh, look at his finger. His finger's smashed in there. Yeah, not much you can do about that. Just pop back into place and tape them together.
Yeah,
You'll be fine. Take some Tylenol. Call us again in 6 weeks.
Man, we're going to be here all night with all these stoppages.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. And they're showing the set piece again. I mean, honestly, we gave up.
Whose mark is Alvarado? Tim Reams?
Looked like Ajimon was closest to him, or whoever's in that first post. Oh, you mean Alvarez? Who scored it?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Alvarez.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it was
Alvarez,
Tim Ream.
yeah.
Yeah, it was Tim Ream. We gave up so many set pieces in and around our goal, corner kicks included, that at some point one of those is going to go against you.
That's Tim Ream. That's Tim Ream.
You're inviting so much pressure, which I said before. I'm pissed off now. We're just dropped so deep. This one hurts more too because we had the 1-0 lead, right?
Yeah, but we
the
never played. We never played.
Yeah, we
I
didn't
know.
play for 10 other than 10 minutes. Now you got to now you just got to battle here, right?
Yeah. And Mexico's not going to make it easy at all. They're just going to drop off. And they got some fresh legs that can hurt us on counters because we're going to have to commit some numbers. And now, who's sitting in that space? It's McGlynn. 7 extra minutes, they're saying. We'll take the foul. Now he calls those. He wasn't calling those in the first half. Freeman gets smashed or what? You get a little knee to the. You got like a little knee to the butt.
Yeah, that knee. Oof.
Yeah. Dark arts. Aguirre is looking to win his second ever Gold Cup. He won the other one in 2009. I was on that team, but I didn't play in the final due to a concussion. That was a long day at the office.
When did you get that concussion?
I got it in the quarterfinals against Panama.
In Philly?
In Philly, Kyle Beckerman scored.
Yeah.
And Kenny Cooper scored, I think. Kenny Cooper and Kyle Beckerman. How about those names for everybody?
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't pick those in your betting, Jimmy.
No, I did not. Koopa Loop. Shout out to Kenny Cooper. Go on. What happened? What is happening?
What?
Oh, God, some of these angles.
What the hell is
Look a
going
lot
on
closer.
These angles are killing me.
Oh, man. I thought that
I don't know what happened.
Half.
It looked like Damian Downs had it, but then he let it go for Ajimon.
He must have got a shout to call. He might have been offside, Damian Downs.
He was on, actually. I can see why he left it, though. Oh, Ajimon had it. Oh, he had a decent look at it. So we've actually been, when we look forward and play a little bit more direct with guys making timed runs, we've gotten some decent looks.
Too little, too late, Jimmy.
I hear you, but
too late.
I mean, you got to have a little bit of possession too. We just couldn't keep the ball and then maintain it to look for those passes. A little different when you're hitting them from around midfield. Oh, what a touch that was. All right, here we go. Come on. Let's go, Brennan. Beep, beep. Let's get that energy going.
Get
Roadrunner
forward,
and
get
no
forward,
funny.
get forward, get forward.
Okay, they've got, look like they're
Come on, come on.
4-1, 4-1. Come on, Tolkien. Okay, you drew the extra player over. Now we got to play the man advantage. Oh, what a tackle that is.
It's not a great pass.
Step the ball now.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna call the
He
foul?
slipped.
No foul.
No, he slipped.
Sweet,
He slipped.
sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, here we go. We got about 4 minutes left. Come on, boys. Okay. At some point, we got to just like put it out to Ream.
Look at everyone's watching. Stagnant. Where's
That's
the
a tough
movement?
one. That's a tough one.
Ugh.
All right. Good, Brendan. Way to win that. Now we just got to play direct. You just have to put it in the box, dude. Tim Ream, you can
got two
pick people out.
strikers, somebody underneath.
Somebody just take the responsibility and put it in the mixer and then try to win the second ball. It's not rocket science. We're not going to get the perfect cross. Just put it in the mixer, dude. Oh my God, we've wasted a minute playing it around. My soul is hurt. And then we play a bad pass.
And then just a slow.
No.
And now they get
this is going in the corner.
Oh, just put it. Everybody should know the deal. Listen, we got 5 minutes left. We're just going to lump them in the box and try to win second balls. That's it. There doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. It's so frustrating. And now we give up a foul. Now they win the ball. And now we kill off 3 extra minutes. I'm pissed. It's about game management. Even if we're down, if we're up, you got to manage games and situations. I'm hot. Gabrielle says, where's the bite? We've had some. I'm not too worried about that. It's just like being smart about it.
It's not bite, it's quality.
Yeah, exactly. A little quality.
Where the hell is the quality? How are we not keeping the ball?
That's a good shout. I like that. That's a good way to describe it. But that's
the ball. We gave the ball away the whole damn game.
It's also decision making, right? Like there's got to be urgent. Just put it by the penalty spot. Try to win something from there, and the knockdown, and go from there. What we're looking for, like, it's like somebody doesn't want to take the responsibility of hitting a hopeful ball. Who gives a shit? Just hit a hopeful ball.
How about we have no players willing to beat their guy one-on-one on the dribble?
Yeah,
that's a big problem too. You get in these 1v1 situations where most teams in the world can run at you.
Go on, Tillman. Right. Go on, Tillman. Oh.
Ah!
That was a chance there, man.
You know, most teams have players that can hurt you in 1v1 situations where you're playing to find that 1v1 matchup. We play and then we can't do anything once we get in that 1v1 matchup except go backwards or sideways. It's frustrating.
All right, we're almost to a minute or so left.
Yeah.
Minute and change. They're going to time waste, and we can't keep the ball. And
this one hurts.
Hey, Berhalter's quality. We have to look at this. We have to evaluate it. He gives the pass away. That leads to them drawing a foul in the corner. These little tiny decisions. This is when we need you the most. Right? Yeah, effort comes into it, but I really love what you brought up, Chuck. Quality. There still has to be a level of quality that needs to happen, even when you're tired. So if I was Tyler Adams, because he got pulled out, he had to be pissed. Not that he was playing well or pass, especially in his passing, but then it becomes you can't find the flow, the rhythm because you don't have any, and then players you count on to make the passes aren't making those, and then it just all falls apart. Don't do it.
Did Tillman just try and Meg in the box?
Yeah, he did. Not. Yes, he did.
Caitlin in the chat suffering. We're all suffering. This hurts. Mexico still putting a high press. Good. Just lump it, but we have to have numbers around the ball so we can try to win the second one. And then we got to keep that ball when we get it. Over the ball. Going to call a foul. He called the game. It's over. Yeah, that was quick. I thought it was a foul.
Oh.
Mexico, 6 games in the Gold Cup, 5 wins, 1 draw against Costa Rica. They should have won that one. This is their 10th ever title. Came down from a 1-0 deficit. Their only time they've been down this whole tournament to come back and win 2-1. They're now the back-to-back champions of this competition. They also won the Nations League. They're in a good way right now under manager Javier Aguirre. And yeah, this one hurts. All right, we're going to take a break. Golasso Network, Golasso America YouTube channel. When we come back, we'll get into the recap part of the show. Don't go anywhere. Hi, hello, and welcome to your favorite Average to Good podcast. Call it what you want. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola, and we are recapping the U.S.'s 2-1 loss to Mexico in the Gold Cup final, and it hurts. The U.S. was up 1-0, and then it was pretty much Mexico the rest of the way, and they found the 2 goals that they needed to win their 10th ever title, or Gold Cup title, I should say. Big Tones, I'm going to start with you. And before we start to dissect the U.S., I do want to give Mexico their flowers. I thought they were the best team throughout this tournament. They brought their A team. I think that needs to be brought into the conversation for sure when we're breaking down everything. But they were very good today. They led in every major statistic. Shots on target, 16 and 8 respectively, 60% possession, 518 passes to the U.S. is 350. Pass accuracy was excellent, 85%. They had 12 corners. The U.S. had 0. So a lot of the metrics Not that everybody's into that, but it does help tell the story of how one-sided it was for a good portion of this game.
Yeah, I don't think you come out. Look, we're rooting for the U.S., right? I don't think you come out of here going like Mexico robbed the game. For me, Mexico deserved the game. I thought they were the better team for 75 minutes, maybe even 80 minutes of this game. Yeah. So it's not as if they didn't deserve to win. Obviously, we looked at it from a different angle. One thing we got to get better with is with the ball. I mean, in every facet of the game, there were, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 sequences maybe in the entire match where we were good with the ball, and then we were pinned back for long periods of time. Now, if it's by design, it's one thing, but when you're chasing it, it's another thing, right? And that, I just literally wrote down everyone's name in the lineup. P for probable, yes for a starter at the World Cup, and N for no. And there's a lot of N's on my list right now. I'm taking 5 games. What they have 5 games, 6 games in the Gold Cup,
and 2
and 2 games. I'm taking 8-game stretch of everything I saw. Just
for clarification, the yes is they're going to be
guys
starters.
I'll just give you my yeses are Adams and who didn't play well tonight, but yes, and Richards. Possibles, I should say, not probables. Matt Freese, Malik Tillman, and the rest are no's. They're not starters in a World Cup. And some I should have put roster in there. I just did it in the break, so I just kind of making it up in my head. So I didn't have a bunch of categories. But yeah, look, when it counted, and I don't know how you guys are going to look at this. So I'm interested. I'm going to go back to Switzerland and Turkey as well, and Mexico. For me, those are the 3 of the 8 games. Those are the 3, I'm going to call them World Cup quality teams that I'm going to look at. And the rest are all you had to get through. You were better than them, so you did your job. But that's how I'm going to look at it.
Okay, so Chuck, before you get into the U.S., I want you to answer this question first. Are Mexico the current kings of CONCACAF, having won the Nations League and now winning the Gold Cup? Can we give them that right now?
How can you not?
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I mean, we're talking about 2 titles back to back. Aguirre, I give this man so much credit of reestablishing the belief in this team, the fight in this team, and adding quality. I mean, Mora, 16 years old. So remember all the conversations around Mexico not producing players anymore. Hey, it's all about the U.S. Look at all the U.S. players playing in Europe. You got all these players playing in Champions League. Where are the Mexican players? The Mexican league's no good anymore. MLS is better than Liga MX, or it's already caught it. Mora's 16 years old. He was balling. And now you have a Raul Jimenez who's showing, hey, I'm the best striker in CONCACAF. I have the most complete game. I'm ruthless. I know Jonathan David's good, but I'm the best striker in CONCACAF. So I think when I look at what Mexico has been able to do is figure out ways to win. The Mexico that you, Tony, and I know are the Mexican teams that would keep possession and make you chase the whole damn game. We were always taught, if you lose the ball, we're running for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So how important is it to keep possession? In this game was a perfect example. When you do all the hard work to win the ball back and you don't take the necessary steps to make the right next choice, you are punished. And that's what happened. The biggest stat for me, Jimmy, touches in the opposition box. We had 15 in the game. They had 41 to 15. Corners, like you said, 12-0.
12-0 is insane.
I don't ever remember seeing that from the U.S. 12 goals to 0, 12 corners to 0. It's like we're playing Spain.
Yeah.
You know, and then I look at the passing in the opposition half, 259 to 128. We were not accurate. Our crosses were not there. I look at the lines. We talked about whether it's Ajiman or when it was Ajiman and Downs, the next closest player was down defending in our box. So you are hoping for some miracle to happen, launching a long ball in a 2v2 or 2v3 situation, and you were hoping that maybe something works out between those two strikers and three Mexican defenders. But overall, this was a terrible performance. Let's be real. This was difficult to watch because they brought the fight. They got the early goal. We're all hyped, but they weren't really connecting passes after that. Then it was Mexico woke up. They started keeping possession. Anytime we did win the ball, we gave it right back. Sloppy passes, miscalculated passes, long balls when they should be short when they should be long. And ultimately, that was not a great game to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot to take away from this. One, I do want to reemphasize that Mexico brought everybody, and there's obviously a lot of chatter around us not bringing everybody. And we don't need to get into that side of it, but I do want to make sure that going into this game, Mexico is known for keeping the ball and doing that to us anyway, historically, and that didn't change, right? And now we ran into a team. And so what I was looking at is, okay, we're walking into this knowing that we somehow have to make Mexico suffer. And for me, one of the best ways to do that was to score first. They had not been down yet in this tournament. They had not been down in the Nations League either. So we scored first. So I was like, sweet, that's great. What does it look like from there? We almost, sometimes when you score too early, we maybe scored too early. I don't know, maybe not. But
no, we had them dazed.
We did have
so at that point, pressure more, because right now they're feeling the pressure. They're dazed. They're feeling the pressure. They're out of sorts a little bit. But we dropped back. We gave them space. And when we did win the ball, we gave it right back instead of saying, hey, keep going. Pressure. Raul Jimenez is not the fastest player.
I know. We should have played a higher line.
Alvarado, slow. Raul Jimenez, not that fast. Alexis Vega, also not that fast. So
I know.
Why not take those chances when you can go 2v1?
Well, that's the thing. You score that. All I said, that you score first, and there's a natural tendency collectively to just, all right, cool. Let's just manage the game from here, and we don't necessarily have to press. We got the goal that we were looking for. We didn't make them suffer, Tones. Right? That next 10 or 15 minutes, it took Mexico a little bit, 10 or 15 minutes after the goal, to kind of start to settle in. But we talked about it during our watch along that, okay, here they come. They connected 10 or 15 passes, and I made a note of it. That not only did they connect 10 or 15 passes, but when that ball got wide after that sequence, they had 4 guys in the box. If we can't play out of that, and in addition to that, our midfield line was now starting to get collapsed onto our defensive line. And it would happen really early. Sometimes you see that later on in the game where guys are tired, but our distances between our midfield line and back line were not good, and that is a red flag.
Can I bring something up for both of you?
Yes,
now you got me thinking, and it's really irritating.
Chuck's thinking, everybody. Hold on to your butts. Chuck is thinking.
Hold on.
because we've had to say, okay, they're getting the job done. It hasn't been pretty, right? But if they get the job done, everyone has to go, okay, they're winning. But when you don't win and you've been playing not well or not in a positive manner, an expectation that we have of this team and of Mauricio Pochettino, now it goes back to the beginning. The selection. Where are the dribblers? Where are the wingers? Where are the guys with pace? Because when we talk about depth and changing the game, go back to John Tolkien coming in as a replacement for Tyler Adams in the Guatemala game, which nearly cost us that match, nearly brought us to PKs, right? Now I go to this game. Okay, you're up 1-0. You got the early goal. The game has run away from us. We're lucky. We're just holding on, defending. Hey,
1-1 at half. 1-1 at half. Yeah.
You need to make changes. But we've not played with 2 strikers, right? This is a team that has not played with 2 strikers, although they'll just throw in Damian Downs. When typically anywhere else around the world, you're seeing Ajimon come off, Downs go on, and then you're going, okay, De La Torre off, and I'm putting on a creative midfielder. Or I'm taking off a Berhalter, and I'm putting on an attacking winger. Because Berhalter, we all know, is an 8. He's a central midfielder. He's not a winger. We didn't have, you look at the bench, there was no options. How the hell do you pick a team, build a team with no options on the wing? Zero. Can you help me understand that?
You want us to make it make sense for you, Chuck?
Yes, please.
The only
Go
guy
ahead,
that
Tom.
would
Go
have
ahead.
helped, the only guy that would have helped that a little bit with the guys that were called was Haji Wright, but obviously he got hurt, and I still think he's more of a point guy, and we would have seen a little bit more of him. But you're right. But you said this the day the roster came out. You're not saying this the night of the final.
I
Yeah,
said
so
this
it's
from the first
right.
damn day that
Right.
roster came out.
Yeah,
I'm not playing.
one of the first things you said, actually. So
and I knew it'd come back, but
played out.
we had to just say, all right, we'll play nice. They're winning. We're not going to bring it up again, but I'm gonna bring it up again. So where do you see? Because it's almost like the expectation before the tournament get to a final. I don't think any of us thought they'd win, and I don't think any of us thought they'd get by Canada in the semifinal. Canada is actually the team that probably underperformed the most, of course, no, without a doubt. So when looking at this, are you satisfied, or it's the way that they played that really throws a wrench in this?
Yeah, I think it's more that, because as you recall, right, I said the minute they run up against Canada or Mexico, that would be sort of the end for them. And Mexico was a better team tonight. They didn't get the chance at Canada. Expectation, yeah, we always expect to get the final, but no, I'm not. The performance doesn't thrill me. The fact that we couldn't hold the ball doesn't thrill me. The fact that we didn't really, we punched them early. What was that, 4th minute?
Yeah.
And then we really didn't lay a hand on them. We battled. The effort was incredible by the guys.
Yeah,
but
we're talking about quality. We are talking about quality.
Mexico's not going into the dressing room after this one and going, man, that was so freaking hard, that game. Like they're not, that's not what they're thinking right now. And that's probably the part that gets me. But now, because I didn't agree with Pochettino when he said today, I agreed that it's the last competitive game. And I'm going to say that in air quotes. I don't think that's the last good game that they're going to play. Right. We got some rumors of some games coming up and all of that stuff. I think there'll be better games than this Mexico game in the lead up to the World Cup. Then I'm thinking like, okay, if it gets any better, and again, I'm going to tell you, I have Switzerland, Turkey, and Mexico in my head. Right. That's what I care about right now. I don't see a lot of these guys playing at that level. I just don't.
Yeah. And I think tonight demonstrated that we have some work to do. You can phrase that however you want, but one of the things that I look at is problem solving. So when the Lions are collapsing on top of each other, how are we solving that? Because that's not going to just go away because we want it to go away. We have to actively do something about it. And I guess what disappoints me, and this includes everybody that's involved with the team, the coaching staff and the players, is that we started the second half and it was more of the same. I was like, how did we not address the fact that our lines are collapsing on top of each other? We're having trouble holding on the ball.
Tactical changes. No tactical changes.
It didn't seem like it.
There was a tactical change. We went to 2 strikers.
Well,
but I'm saying at halftime.
At halftime, like we fell back into the same.
Yeah.
Our collective team shape fell back into the same kind of 2 lines, really right on top of each other, and maybe we were a little bit higher, but not much. Not that it made that much of a difference. So I look at that. And then I looked at little things. So you have 2 very young, inexperienced outside backs for us, right? You have Alex Freeman on one side and Max Arfson. Both bright spots in different ways. Lots of work to do, a little raw in their decision-making, a little immature, still need to evolve. Listen, they're young. They got a lot to do. And we can make a strong argument for their futures. But for this particular moment, and maybe even the next year, I don't know where they are in your list, Tones. When I that they had Berhalter tracking in behind Freeman for defensive purposes, and DeLuna was tracking in behind Arfson. Listen, your team shape is off. That should never. Okay, in a last ditch situation where the house is on fire, then sure, you can have guys kind of go all over the place. But when you're kind of set in your block and you have other guys tracking into where your area of the field is with no communication, you just kind of get into 1v1. Listen, something's off. And that's where I think that inexperience of our younger players shows. And then all of a sudden when we win the ball, we don't have guys in the spots that they should be because Luna and Berhalter are now back in behind the back line. That's just the little moments. These are little moments. We talked about it before in the watch along. These little details make a big difference, especially when you draw them out over a 90-minute game. So that frustrates me. And the fact that it wasn't, or doesn't seem like it was, addressed at halftime, now I get pissed at the coaching staff because they had a half to look at it.
I've Jimmy and Tony, tell me I haven't said it since Nations League. I have really questioned Pochettino's player selection, player management style, the way that he's making these changes, these substitutions, the way that he's seeing players slide in certain positions. Remember, he was playing Jack McGlynn as a right winger.
Yeah.
Against some of the best teams in the world. We're talking about Switzerland.
He scored a banger against Turkey, though.
Great. A broken clock is right twice a day.
We got to bring it up. He did score.
Of course. But again, I would have said, oh, well, he scored a free kick in the 4th minute. Great. But we're talking about substance. And this is a perfect point for everybody listening. At the very minimum, when you play for the U.S. men's national team, the expectation from us as the brotherhood, this is on the inside now, is that guys respect the kit. Guys give it their all. They are willing to die for one another on the pitch. That type of fight. Like, we're playing for our country, we're playing for our families, we're playing for our cities, our towns, our communities, all of that you feel it. We saw they competed, they felt it, but they're missing the essence of what takes us to the next level, and that's the quality. We did not see the quality. So we saw in the Nations League, they didn't bring the fight, the expectations of, I got to represent my country and represent this next generation. And Tony is the guy I look at when we're talking about the young generation up and coming. And when you're in this brotherhood, for everybody listening, you make the U.S. men's national team. It's a lifelong goal to represent your country and to get on the pitch and play. But whether you are playing now, whether you are retired and you're getting into coaching or you're getting into media, that brotherhood will always remain. You've done something that very few have done, represent your country at the international level. And you think about, how do I help the next guy behind me? And Tony, I always look at you because I'm coming into media and you're like, hey, brother, come on in. Let me help you with SiriusXM and giving you a voice and helping you understand how to deliver your thoughts and under a time crunch. So it's a little thing like that goes such a long way, and something I'll always value and respect. And then coming into the national team, I looked at Aguch, Tim Howard, Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, and DeMarcus Beasley, Carlos Bocanegra. These were my heroes. I'm on the pitch with them. They helped me up. They pulled me into the team. They got me up to speed. We're watching these guys, and I'm saying, bro, give me something. You guys have all the talent. You're playing in Europe, but when you're playing for this, we're not seeing the heart at the last Nations League. We didn't see that. Forget the quality. You got to give me this first. This group gave us this. I will not sit here and say from the friendlies to now, they didn't give us this. They just didn't have the quality to go along with this. And if we want to make a run in the World Cup and we want to be the footballing nation, the soccer nation we all want it to be, you got to give us this, of course, like every other top nation. But then the quality has to come alongside it. And tonight was a clear indication of how far that quality is from a team like Mexico, who's well coached in their A group, right?
Right. Well said, Chuck. And speaking of quality, let's bring on Paul Tenorio from The Athletic, who is in Houston. Paul, what's up? What do you got for us?
Man, I don't know if I can live up to the quality that Charlie was just talking about. No, I mean, I think honestly, like, this is spot on, and it puts so much importance on September and October and November. How Mauricio Pochettino starts to reintegrate the players who weren't here into this group, right? He talked a lot yesterday in the pregame press conference about the way that this group has become a family, the 40 days they've spent together, how they believe in each other, how they believe in what they've been able to accomplish here. That's all wonderful, and it's important. And I think it was a big part of the equation of what this tournament meant once we knew that players weren't going to be there because of Club World Cup and injury. And then, of course, with Christian deciding he needed a rest. That's fine. You look at the quality tonight against a good Mexico team. And I agree with what Tony said. I look at Switzerland, Turkey, and Mexico as really the best example of what you're going to get, what you want to get out of guys at the World Cup. You know, we have to judge the quality of this group too. And Pochettino, you hope, will keep in mind those 3 games above all else. How does he bring Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson and Tim Weah and Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, all of those guys back in? And I think those guys are separate, by the way, from Christian Pulisic. You know, let's not lump them in with Christian of wanting a break. These guys had, you know, Anthony Robinson had a surgery. Serginho Dest did show up. You know, he's got to bring the quality back into the group and somehow also carry over the camaraderie and the family feeling that he talked about yesterday and the fight that you saw tonight against Mexico. But you've got to supplement the fight with the quality.
Paul, I'll tell you how you bring them in. You call them up. You say, "Hey, your flight is here," and you bring them in.
You got to call them, right, Tony? You got to call them. You can't get lost in this group.
Yeah, you look. I still want to temper kind of my thoughts. Of course, it's right after the game, but I came into this tournament, Paul. Tell me if I looked at it in the right way. I came into this tournament looking for individuals that will either make the roster, push themselves into a higher category, whether you're a sub going into a starter or a fringe guy going into the 26. I want to still look at it that way. Am I okay in thinking that? Look, I want this team to win more than anybody, right? But I'm still looking at it in categories and trying to elevate yourself wherever you were to the next category.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. I think it's also maybe making guys either look over their shoulder or have to fight to get back in. So like Malik Tillman is maybe the best example of that, where I think he's put himself in a position to be the starter at his position going forward. And that means that Yunus Musa is coming into this and saying, I don't have a starting job in this midfield, right? What do I need to do to make him go back to the midfield trio of Musa, Adams, and McKennie? You know, I think you look at Alex Freeman, and he's laid out a challenge now where Joe Scally is saying, I might still be on the outside looking in. And you look at, I think Matt Freese. Matt Freese is kind of an example of a guy who Pochettino has handed him the trust and said, go see what you can do with it. Do I think that he was incredible in this tournament? No. But the point is that he's created this competition now where Matt Turner is going back to his club, moving to France and saying, I need to put in the work and the performances to win this job back. And so that, I think, was an important part of this tournament, is finding those guys who can add competition. And then you hope maybe find 1 or 2 guys that can jump into the starting lineup and provide some quality. And I think there are some guys that were in this tournament that I think will help this U.S. team. Tillman, Luna, you know, maybe being the 2 players that I would expect the most out of the guys we didn't maybe think would be a part of the World Cup squad that I think have shown that they're going to be there or more than likely.
Paul, I want to take this to another level in terms of bringing in a world-class coach like Mauricio Pochettino, right, to get the most out of this group, to more so than a Jesse Marsh or a Jurgen Klinsmann or a Bruce Arena for that matter. What have you seen from Mauricio Pochettino from Nations League to now? Where would you assess him given the expectations? And where do you think he has struggled? Because from what I've seen, there have been some major areas of concern.
Yeah, it's tough to judge because this is such a different group, the Nations League. And I think even for him, he had to reset his expectation for what this summer was supposed to be, right? The team he thought he was going to get 40 days with and the team he did end up getting 40 days with. And I think we saw this entire tournament, him learning about this player pool, this one that was here in this tournament. And that's how you end up with moments of Jack McGlynn starting on the right wing against Switzerland. And, you know, Patrick Adjumong playing like almost every minute in this tournament. And, you know, we've Max Arston, who's never played left back in a back 4, playing every single game as a left back in a back 4. And you know that that's going to lead to mistakes. You know that's going to lead to issues. I mean, even some of the changes he made tonight, where guys are getting scrambled when they sent a second forward on, trying to communicate with guys. We're switching to a 4-4-2. And Tillman, I thought was kind of a vet move, went to go get water to make sure he was on the left wing coming into his right foot. And Luna was like, snooze, you lose, had to move over to the right side. But like, this is all like getting to know his personnel. That process has to be quick now, right?
Yep.
In September, you bringing guys back in that you know, okay, and the tactical identity has to come together very quickly. This is who we are. This is what we do. You know, these are the foundation of kind of our identity as a team. And this is how we adjust in game if this happens, and this is how we adjust in game if this happens. So there's no more of the confusion. There's no more trying.
No more experimenting.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to end it. You've had this group now. Bring the guys in, you know, and let's see it quickly. And 2 good opponents in September that will test that right away. So the tactical side of it, for me, is where there are still questions around Pochettino. But I'm giving him a long leash here, saying, it's been a lot of players coming through. Okay, fine. Let's cut it off right now. Gold
I don't
Cup's
know,
over.
man.
It's time.
Some of the selection, Paul. We're talking about putting a roster together with no wingers.
Yeah.
How is that possible? How can you
look
play?
At the squad. Look at the squad, though. Like
You're telling me you couldn't call in one winger? You got your whole player pool, MLS, you go around the world. You're telling me you couldn't find 2 wingers to play in a system where he loved the 4-2-3-1. You couldn't.
He put him at left back. Chuck, he put him at left back. He had a winger. And they put him at left back.
Right here. He had Haji right here who's played.
He could have put Max Arfson as a winger. And maybe could have solved some of those issues. Anyway.
Yeah.
There's a lot to get into.
It's got to get resolved in September. It's a huge window, guys. September is huge.
It is huge. I agree with you, Paul. We appreciate your time. And also, I love what you said about the in-game adjustments. Having a plan B or a plan C if plan A isn't working is where I think this team really needs to evolve and get better at. Game management, whether we're winning, losing, whatever the situation is, we just have to be able to solve problems quicker. And I'm hopeful we can get that sorted out sooner rather than later. Paul Tenorio, everybody from The Athletic, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
joining
Paul.
us live
Thanks,
from
guys.
Houston from the Gold Cup final. Absolute beast. Check him out again on The Athletic. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to dig in a little bit more on Mauricio Pochettino and his job so far in charge of the U.S. men's national team. All right, welcome back into Call It What You Want. I'm Conrad Dino alongside Chuck Wagon and Big Tones, and we are continuing our conversation after the U.S. lost in the Gold Cup final 2-1 to Mexico. And I think the place to start here for this particular segment is where we should net out on this team and this performance. Prior to the tournament, would we have taken a run to the final to play against Mexico and only lose 2-1? Probably. And so how much credit should we, before we dive into maybe some of the particulars that we're a little bit frustrated about with Mauricio Pochettino, should we say, hey, listen, with this particular group of players, getting to the final is pretty good? Is that a fair assessment, Chuck? I'm just saying, like,
no, Jimmy, no.
I'm just trying to give. I want to give some. I just want to give some emotional balance to this. I want to give some balance to this. That's all.
We that's what we've done the whole time. But let's be real.
I get that.
We played Trinidad. We played Trinidad. We played Saudi Arabia. We played Haiti.
I get it.
So we played a Costa Rica, who again is kind of a young, nowhere near the Costa Rica teams of old. We're talking about Brian Ruiz and Joel Campbell and these guys who are just flying around. And then we play a Guatemala. So of course we should be in the final. It's not like we didn't play Canada. Then we played, top teams all the way through. And then we're like, hey, we got to a final. And not only that, we got to a final and we gave Mexico the business, or it was like really 50-50. We created chances. We got played off the park. Come on.
I get it. I'm just trying to say, listen, I agree with you. Trinidad was terrible. Saudi Arabia missing 8 of their normal starters due to the FIFA
all they
Club
did
World
was
Cup.
Defend. They just sat in a box.
They still almost scored on us. Chris Richards had to make a really game-saving, and he scored we had to beat him on a set piece only. We played Haiti. That was closer than it should have been, right? And they're always a tough game. We know that.
Yeah, but
shout out to the Haitians. And then Costa Rica. We're up 2-1. We should have closed that game. Should have been done. We couldn't manage that. And then we barely survived Guatemala, and then we got outplayed by Mexico in the final. But so how much credit, or if any? I mean, because we kind of had a nice, relatively, I don't say easy, because there's no games that are easy, but an easier run than it could have been. I guess that's maybe a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, but we've seen this before. It's not as if there have been. It's not as if every tournament we've won or lost, like every game was. It's Concacaf. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we should be better than most of these teams. Like that's my basic expectation in this thing. But what we can't do is say, oh, this group was terrible, but they got to a final. Like there's got to be a little bit of balance. I didn't think I'm the first one to say I didn't think this team would get to a final. I told you right from the start. If they ran into Canada, if they ran into Mexico, that would be the end for them. Okay, Canada didn't get there. So I feel like a broken record in that regard. I don't like the way we played. I mean, that's not – I'm rooting for them. I want them always to win. I'm their biggest fan. But if you're asking me, like, was that pleasurable to watch? Like, did the eye test? Like, for me personally, no. That might be beautiful to somebody where you defend and you're fighting and all that stuff. Like, I'm with you, Charlie. I should have started by saying the effort was unbelievable by every guy, every single game. Sorry, the effort was incredible by every guy. There's no questions in my mind that every single player gave 110% in each game battled. I don't like the fact that I feel like Costa Rica, we started to run out of gas. We couldn't hold on to the ball. Guatemala, we ran out of gas. We couldn't hold on to the ball. And it started to happen earlier. This game again, 30 minutes in, we ran out of gas. We couldn't hold on to the ball. Like it just got, maybe I'm being kind there, but but it was like longer periods every game that we couldn't hold on to the ball. That part I don't like at all, because quite honestly, all this BS about, in the past, we used to be fighters and blah, blah, blah. We say that as if that takes away from how good those guys were on the ball. We had teams. I mean, you talk about, we can go back and look. I'm not trying to compare teams, but this was a poor performance. It's a poor U.S. performance from a ball playing standpoint. It just was not up to stuff.
From quality on the ball, making decisions, and the lack of players who are willing to run at guys 1v1 and beat their opponent. We did not have that. It was always I got the ball in that 1v1 situation, and I get it off my foot. I got to play either backwards or sideways and play the safe pass. I don't know if it's because they didn't have a lack of pace, or they didn't trust their speed, or they don't, feel comfortable in those 1v1 situations. Again, the roster didn't help any of the wide players in the attacking positions, because everyone was essentially a central midfielder, outside of Quinn Sullivan, who usually plays in that wide areas. But, I think this level is a big jump for him. He went from, U20, U23 in the mix, playing with the Philadelphia Union, to all of a sudden you got to play at the U.S. men's national team and you're playing against Turkey and Switzerland. It's a big jump, and too big of a jump. I think it came too soon. So that's the case for a lot of these players, is maybe the opportunity came a little bit too soon. Like Tony said, I'm proud when I watch them in terms of the heart. They all played with heart. But when we're talking about quality, it came in spurts. We look at the Guatemala game, the first 25 minutes on fire, and then it said, we're up 2-0. Let's pump the brakes. Let's kill the game. And in essence, allowed Guatemala to build confidence and say, hey, we can play with these guys. Look, they're dropping off. And then we make a one or two wrong substitutions. And that was also part of this process, is watching Mauricio Pochettino wait too long.
Well, so let's
evaluate
substitutions. So we're already frustrated about his roster build, right? That he didn't balance his team well enough, that we didn't have answers. All of a sudden we're down in a game and we need to bring players on, and we don't know who to bring on that can really answer the call. We don't have wingers, right? And so that we're not satisfied with that. Then the substitution patterns. We can even go rotations. He had a chance in the Haiti game. He made 4 changes. He brought on who he had? Quinn Sullivan, Brendan Aronson started, and John Tolkien started, and De La Torre partnered with. He took out Berhalter and put in De La Torre, and Luna was out. So you had some changes there, but maybe not a lot. And then he stuck with the same team the rest of the way. It makes you wonder how much he trusts really the full group. That has to be brought into the conversation if you don't make any changes, or maybe that's just his style. So I don't want to make it maybe necessarily about trust. So substitutions, rotations, which could kind of fall into the same category, and then roster build. And then I know, Chuck, you get triggered when he gets post-game press conferences when he should be talking about the game. He's talking about
don't tell me about the fans. Don't tell me about building culture, and don't tell me about fans. The culture was built. Remember, we had the whole conversation in 2022 with Greg, rebuilding the culture, yada yada. Okay, culture. All these guys have played in the World Cup now for the most part. Don't give me culture.
You're not here for that.
No,
you're not here for that.
You were here for one year. There's no culture building in 1 year. You're here to get us the furthest possible in a home World Cup. Give us the best players.
Okay,
and coach them tactically and make the right substitutions and play.
And coach, and to your point, coach them up, right? So where I get frustrated is the management of the game. It's on the players, of course, but it's also the information they're getting.
What do you mean, Jimmy? Explain to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Explain to me. Coach them up. What does that mean?
Coach them up is you get to maximize the potential of this particular group. Okay, you identify that you didn't have wingers. How are we going to now play in a way that's going to maximize?
What do you mean identify they didn't have winger? You had the opportunity.
Yeah, he could have brought on.
No one said this is all you can pick from. Go.
Okay, but now that's the choice he made. That's a choice, right? He made choices. Zendejas would have been a winger that was in good form. He elected to leave him off. However you feel about Zendejas, at least he's a winger, and he could have potentially played that position. But once you make that choice, then you have to put us in a system, Tones, that's going to maximize the ability of the players that you do have available. And he tried, right? You had Tillman and Luna. You're trying to create numerical advantages in the center of the park. And then you're allowing Arfson to go a little bit more forward. And it felt like Freeman was maybe handcuffed to stay at home a little bit. In the Guatemala game, he got forward a little bit, and we were all happy that he did. And he got a little bit forward in the first half against Mexico too. And we're like, sweet. He's getting himself a little bit more into the attack, and that balances out our team, gives us more width when that happens. So when you're saying coaching up, do we have a clear identity on both sides of the ball? Can we problem solve? And okay, that's why I go back to the first half. First half against Mexico, they were all over us. Can we make some adjustments tactically that's going to not allow Mexico to do whatever they want? And I didn't see that. And that frustrates me because I feel like that's where the coaches have some impact is at halftime. They can, hey, this is what we need to do. We got to get our line a little bit higher. We got to get our midfield off of our top of our laps. And that way our spacing is going to be good when we transition. And that didn't seem to happen. So that's frustrating for me. And so that element of coaching the team up, I think is important. Making subs, that's going to elevate the team, right? This is something we're frustrated too. We go to 2 strikers. Hey, I want to see 2 strikers, but have we talked about it as a group? I hope so. I'm pretty sure that we have, but it didn't look like it. Right. So that's where I get a little bit frustrated. So can you coach up the team? We see other teams that you can tell that the input that they're getting from the particular coaching staff, all of a sudden everything feels elevated, right? All of a sudden you're getting the best out of everybody. Like, yeah, I want to tap into that. We know that Mauricio Pochettino has done it in the past at the club level. Can he do it at the international level? That's the big challenge.
Yeah,
so the question I throw back to you.
You said coach up these players. Then in the end, you said coach up the team, because I think a national team, and I know it's a bigger discussion.
No. I love that. That's a good insight. Keep going. Keep going.
It's just not his job to make. He doesn't have enough time to make players better like you want over a period of time. He has a chance just to find who the best players are and bring in, make the team better. So you cleared it up by saying the team, and that's where I was going with the question.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I appreciate that ad. That definitely is an important layer to bring into the conversation. All right, we're going to take our last break and call what you want. When we come back, we'll maybe touch upon Pochettino for a little bit more, and then we'll get into the players that we think did the job to hopefully book their ticket for the World Cup in 2026. Keep it right here. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome back in to Call It What You Want. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola, and this is the stretch run of our recap of the U.S.'s 2-1 loss to Mexico in the Gold Cup final. Shout out to Mexico. They won their 10th ever Gold Cup title. I'm giving them their flowers. I thought they were very good throughout this tournament. They on both sides of the ball. And so, yeah, I'm a little worried that they've emerged as the kings of the castle right now of CONCACAF, and we have a little bit of work to do to regain that title. But for the rest of the time until next year, I'm more worried about us than them. I think they've done a really nice job, or Javier Aguirre has done a nice job since retaking the team for the third time. Anyway, I know I said we're going to talk about Pochettino a little bit. We're going to save that for Tuesday, so we have a little bit more to dive into on that show. So come back and join us. We'll be live at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Golasso America YouTube channel. But let's talk about your list, Big Tones. Players possibly can make it. Like, where are we on this? Me and Chuck want to chime in on, and so does everybody else.
Well, here I wrote.
Right now.
How about this list? None of these guys got displaced for me. Pulisic, Anthony Robinson, Weston, Scally, Balogun, Weah, Dest, Pepe, Musa. They still Testament and Bucio didn't get displaced either in this tournament, right? And you're gonna
how about Turner?
Turner's a wait and see right now, but no, he's going to make the roster. He's going to go and play. He's going to be on the team, and it's going to be between him and Matt Freese that are going to play in the World Cup. I still think Turner has a say in the World Cup and who plays in goal. Like he's going to be in the conversation. But so Matt Freese is a probable for the roster. Tim Ream is still a probable for the roster. Richards a yes. Alex Freeman at the moment, no, because you got Scally and Dest there. You're not going to take three backs. Arston, no. Tyler Adams, yes. Luca Del Torre, no. Sebastian Berhalter is a wait and see. There's 26. Malik Tillman is a probable. Diego Luna, we'll see what happens because I'm looking at 3 games, and I told you the 3. And Patrick Agyemang for me is a no. I can't. For me personally, I like Agyemang. I think he's a different dimension. I also think, well, if Pepe's fit, we think he's the guy, or Balogun, right? That's one of those 2 guys. I don't think he's done better than Josh Sargent, even though Josh Sargent hasn't scored a goal since 2019. But you're telling me that Patrick Agyemang is a better soccer player right now than Josh Sargent is? I don't know. I watch Brandon Vasquez every week. I think Brandon Vasquez is a different dimension than some of these players too, and I think will be part of the conversation at some point. So
what about Cardoso? Where does Cardoso fall in for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Was he hurt?
He's a wait and see. No, well, he had a bit of an ankle injury, but I'm sure he's probably sweating out his transfer to Atletico Madrid as well. So
yeah, I don't know if you agree with any of that or disagree with any of it, but the forward position, I think I'm most scared of. If Pepe doesn't get back and if Balogun doesn't find some form, then I'm worried, Chuck, a little bit about that position.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pepe and Balogun are right there. And I still think we're a one-striker nation at this point. I don't see a partnership between those two developing out of nothing, out of thin air within one camp. So it's going to be Balogun or Pepe. It's not going to be Balogun and Pepe. So you got your 1A and your 1B, and those are your 2 guys you're riding and dying with throughout the whole tournament. 1 starter, 1 substitute, and maybe 1 changes as we see.
You can have Haji, right? Could be a tweener. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
both. No, I'm just throwing that out there.
Not with how Pochettino is already showing us how he plays. He sticks with one lineup and he rolls, and he's got his 3 subs and he goes with those guys. There's no changing depending on the situation. And I know there was lack of depth. I mean, 0 depth in this team. So you kind of are forced to play your guys. But ultimately, you're expecting the McKinneys of the world, the Pulisics of the world, the Weahs of the world to play 90. And now you see why Timothy Weah has to play in the wing. Because if you don't have him, there's no 1v1, there's no dynamism. You need a dynamic player. So now you have Christian Pulisic and Weah. Then you throw in Anthony Robinson and Dest, and all of a sudden the team looks completely different because you have guys who will run at you 1v1. And you need players to have confidence to create space for others. If you don't, it makes the game so easy and predictable. And by the way, given that this team lacked a lot of quality, they still pushed Mexico. So for me, when we do have all our guys and eventually when Pochettino gets a real hold and make sure that he gets the most out of every player in each position, Mexico shouldn't be a problem for us. They shouldn't, given our team speed and quality. But man, this is going to be a big year for some of these guys.
Huge.
This upcoming season for the European calendar. So I'm really curious to see how it goes down, because I see one comment from Allison Bailey. She said, "I always say ready at this level in quotation marks. Not many of these guys played strong in quotes at this level. Luna was ineffective. Even Tillman was meh. Berhalter not good, etc." Well, I would disagree with you in the fact that we saw moments of real quality. Now, given Luna absolutely balled against the Guatemala side, he still showed what he's good at. I think Berhalter was really strong throughout the whole tournament, and he made some poor mistakes. You know, when you're chasing the game, you're trying to figure out, that's also not his game, trying to make the game. He's not a creative playmaker. He's a tough box to box. He's a tough tackler, get it off his foot and play it. Great at set pieces. We've seen that. So he has shown some strong qualities at this level. Again, he's just dipping his toe in the water. He was thrust into the U.S. men's national team given his performances with Vancouver, but this is his first foray. This isn't someone who's been a seasoned vet at the international level. So I like what I saw from him, and he's got potential, a big year ahead of him. And Malik Tillman, I think we all can say he finally showed some promise. He showed quality. He showed something he hadn't before. He was the Cardoso of before, where you play in Europe, you play really well, and you give nothing at the U.S. men's national team level. It looks almost a step off, like you can't hang. And you got to speed up, you got to adapt, you got to change, you got to get confidence from the coach, all the above. Tillman, it finally worked and clicked. We still would have liked to see more tonight, of course. The quality wasn't there when we needed him to be creative and be a game changer.
I think if you add in the 2 friendlies as well, you have 8 games, so 40 days, as we've mentioned. You had some questions of this group, the player pool in general, and some positions that you wanted to get some challenges. And now I think you got some answers. You got Matt Freese, right? That's going to give a challenge for goalkeeper. Is it set who's the number 1 is? No, but at least it's up and it's a healthy competition. Jedi for sure going to be on the left back. Center backs, Ream and Richards were the guys throughout this tournament. Is that who we want moving forward? I think that's a wait and see. I think Richards is in for sure. I think Ream is the question mark.
Richards is a lock. Richards was very good tonight.
Phenomenal. And then Serginho Dest has got to get healthy and sharp as soon as possible. And then you have Adams, and I still think it's still up for grabs who that spot's going to be next to him. Okay, so that's still up for grabs, and I think that is a question that needs to be answered, and we're going to find that out over time. So this next window, I agree with Paul Tenorio from earlier. This next window is going to be really important as we try to blend in these 2 groups of players. I think Tillman and Luna did enough to be part of the conversation. We need some wingers, so Pulisic and Way are going to be set. And then I think it's clear that either Pepe or Balogun need to start, and then Ajiman or whoever else can be that next player profile that maybe is a little bit different from them. So, yeah, we can get into this more in depth, obviously, over the next year, but obviously in the upcoming week as we kind of do a recap of how we're feeling. But I did want to speak about it overall. All right, who is your man of the match for this game?
Chris
I think
Richards.
the easy one
Not
is
even close
for me.
And he's player of the tournament. He's player of the tournament.
I was going to say that too. That was going to be my next one, into the player of the tournament, and what everybody else is thinking in the chat overall. But we got to a final. Obviously, didn't have the performance that we were hoping for. Got off to a great start. Made Mexico suffer for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then didn't make Mexico suffer the rest of the game. Disappointing loss, I'd say, for the U.S. A lot of high hopes going into this one. Tim Ream, that's his 3rd ever Gold Cup final. Hasn't won any of them. Maybe he jinxed us. Thanks, Tim. I'm just giving him a hard time. Obviously, a solid pro. I'm just giving him a hard time. All right, that's it. We're calling it a show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Golazo Network. Thank you for hanging out with us throughout this whole tournament on Golazo America's YouTube channel. Come back and join us again live 10 a.m. Eastern. It'll be me, Charlie, and Big Tones breaking it all down like we always do with the best community on the internet. All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging out with us. Later.